In Colorado, happy Friday. It is April 22nd. It is Earth Day. We'll talk about that much more in depth in our 4 o'clock hour, 3 minutes past 3 o'clock. I'm Steffan Tubbs, Michael Arpaio, our producer, Richard Robertson in the newsroom as we head into our final 4 hours of a busy week as always, and we've got a great show ahead. Welcome to those of you who just may stumble upon it at some point. We're going to try to do this every day, and I'll keep reminding you, but we're live streaming again, video-wise. We are on our YouTube channel, 710 KNUS YouTube channel. Hey, and when you're there, be sure to subscribe, and it's not to collect your Social Security number. We may ask for a credit card. No, that's totally not true. That's not true either. But when you subscribe to a YouTube channel, and I may be telling you what you already know, but when you subscribe, then you'll be able to get alerts like, boom, Steffan Tubbs Show is starting or is on the air or what have you. So welcome to those of you watching and to those of you listening, either live stream, no matter where you are on this beautiful planet Earth of ours, especially on Earth Day. You can listen to live stream via the app or the website, 710knus.com/Steffan, and you can send an email via the app or the website. And, of course, text the studio via the app, and I always love, and especially, don't tell any other hours that people come in, say 4, 5, and 6, but the 3 o'clock hour texters always start the show off right. So thank you for that. And our number, of course, 303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. How about Kevin McCarthy? Have you heard the recordings? One of the first bits of information that I was privy to was a CBS News kind of an alert that comes, and because we're CBS News affiliates, my inbox, we probably get, I don't know, Michael, what would you say? Probably easily 75 emails from CBS, every single day. And one of them, let's see if I can find it. It's pretty interesting, and we'll get to some of those recordings from the man who, if there is a red wave for the midterms coming up, there's a pretty good chance, at least, well, maybe before this, I don't know, now that this has come out, but he could be the Speaker of the House, California's Congressman Kevin McCarthy. But I found this interesting. This was the very first thing. This was sent at 3 a.m. Denver time this morning. And so when I got up early, checking my emails, and I'll quote this, a spokesperson for Representative Liz Cheney of Wyoming said the following in relation to questions about leaked audio of House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy calling for former President Trump's resignation after the January 6th Capitol riot. And here's the spokesperson for Liz Cheney's quote. The Select Committee has asked Kevin McCarthy to speak with us about these events, but he has so far declined. Representative Cheney did not record or leak the tape and does not know how the reporters got it. Close quote. That is what you call proactive press people, press person. Just to let you know. And I quote, Representative Cheney did not record or leak the tape and doesn't know how reporters got it. So do you have it? So we will talk about that. And this, if Kevin McCarthy is only kind of liked by even some of his fellow Republicans, does this just now close the door on any of his fellow Republicans giving him any support, working with him, if in fact all of this is true and some kind of, we didn't hear any allegations today of any voice manipulation. This is Kevin McCarthy, and he's talking about the president. So we'll get into that, and it may raise some eyebrows, especially to you if you are, say, not all, but some of our listeners since January 6th. And of course, we had breaking news coverage. I remember that coming in maybe midday, and I think we were on something like 8 hours, January 6th of 2021. But if you also think that this has been handled extremely poorly, that you question some of was there inside help? Again, what I've told you a million times, just so you know, not that you care, but just so you know, and I make it clear where I stand on January 6th. If that's the new wave Republican patriot, I want no part of it. And feel free, I'm sure some of our critics that already have called me a rhino, if that's the label that I get placed on me once again, even on a Friday afternoon when I really don't want to, have too many negative things to say go back and forth with. But if that is if someone who went and caused damage and did what they did and they should not have, not everyone, again, I want to make that clear as well. The vast majority let me say this one more time. The vast majority of people in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, 2021, who listened to Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani, and they listened, and then Donald Trump says what he says, which one of the things he did not say was, so therefore walk up Pennsylvania Avenue and go, and if you've got to punch a cop or break a window, then just do it. No, the president didn't say anything. He did not help himself that day, as we've talked about 100,000 times. But the vast majority of those people in Washington who even went up to the grounds of the United States Capitol, the vast majority didn't do anything nefarious. I think our friends on the left, in fact, would call that then, and again, I know it was deadly, and many of you are still questioning, well, how did this happen? And people, they ended up killing themselves. Regardless of the fact, I think that's horrible. But let's just face it. The fact is, if you took that and then compared it to any major city that saw trouble, including Denver, though thank God not the death here, if you went back to 2020 and looked at how the Democrats treated, say, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Minneapolis, New York. Well, to many of our friends on the left, especially the progressive nut jobs, that was a mostly peaceful protest. That's how they would describe January 6th, except they don't, because they don't believe in that old adage, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. But anyhow, that is something that today it has been the dominant story in Washington, D.C. So we'll continue to talk about that in this segment coming up. It would be obviously dumb of us not to mention to you at least, keep an eye on the fires if there are fires. I think I saw one earlier today that was down off of I-25, kind of near the Air Force Academy. I'm not quite sure. I'm not there. I didn't go there, but I did see it on social media. But the wind is obviously out there, extremely warm for April 22nd, 86 degrees in downtown as we started the program, and it's obviously extremely dry. So we will continue. The National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning, and I'm positive that if we need to get in touch with them, we will, and we will certainly continue to follow what could be, man or woman. This could be a very bad fire season coming up. Once again, it's just been so dry. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, I mentioned it is Earth Day. The president in Seattle and Portland, wonder if he stopped by Chaz or Chop in either of those once beautiful, well, you got the Rose City, Portland, and you've got the Emerald City, Seattle. And don't make any mistake about it. Of course, it was calculated. It's Earth Day. Let's go to Seattle. Let's go to Portland. And we'll talk about that and play you at least one really again for the second day in a row. Maybe some of you would say, well, he's been in the office 100-something days or whatever. or excuse me, hundreds of days. It's like almost every day he says something eye-rolling, and in fact, he continued that today. So we'll talk about that in a little less than an hour, though. We do have a guest just to update from Douglas County. There were 7 arrests made last night in connection with a couple of deaths and a drug case. And whenever we can, we always like to get the latest, especially drugs and fentanyl being so in the news here in Colorado for seemingly so long, and the ridiculous legislation that has been proposed. Thank God it is going through some various amendments and further discussion. But Douglas County Sheriff Tony Spurlock will join us and update us on what happened last night in Douglas County, the sheriff at 4:05. And then a couple of times today, we will, because I remembered, it is a Friday, and I think 7 of the last 8 Fridays, we have done something that I'm really glad that we do. We talk about so much. And on this program, no knock on any other program on the station or anywhere else around your radio dial, but I am really proud of all of the sound that we are able to bring you throughout the week. So later on this hour, we will do our look back at the sound that was part of this week and part of our discussion. So we'll have that. And then finally, before we get to the recordings of Kevin McCarthy, in the 6 o'clock hour, sponsored by our friend Danny Cash, Danny Cash Hot Sauce, DannyCash.com. It will be the Friday Homestretch Film Review Film of the Week from 1952, shot in beautiful black and white. Don't bother to knock. And Michael, I know that we haven't done together a lot of these film reviews, but one of the early rules, like when we first started almost 4+ years ago, is I never want to let you know if you did watch with us. You know, you may have hated it, I may have loved it, so I don't want to tip my hand until we play the clips and everything. This film was one of the best films that I have seen in this film noir genre in a long time. I absolutely loved it. And you know what I could say? I don't want you to leave, but you could actually start it like in the next 15 minutes. It's only 76 minutes long, starring Richard Widmark and Anne Bancroft in her first film ever, Marilyn Monroe, as an absolute psychotic psycho. I could not believe how much I loved it. So we'll get into clips and trivia and more coming up in the 6 o'clock hour. But I hope, and even if you don't have time like right now or even today, put this on, like bookmark it for a film. I did have to pay, I think, $3.99 via Comcast, but it was so worth it. I really, really enjoyed it. So hopefully if you did watch with us, don't bother to knock. We will have that coming up in the 6 o'clock hour. Again, our number 303-696-1971. So let's start with the Kevin McCarthy recordings. Liz Cheney says she didn't do it.
Is there any chance, are you hearing that he might resign? Is there any reason to think that might happen?
I've had some few discussions. My gut tells me no. I'm seriously thinking of having that conversation with him tonight. I haven't talked to him in a couple days. From what I know of him, I mean, you guys all know him too. Do you think he'd ever back away? But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to call him. This is what I think. No, it'll pass the House. I think there's a chance it'll pass the Senate even when he's gone. And I think there's a lot of different ramifications for that. Now, I haven't had a discussion with the Dems that if he did resign, would it not happen? Now, this is one personal fear I have. I do not want to get into any conversations about Pence party, anything like that. I mean, the only discussion I would have with him is that I think this will pass, and it would be my recommendation you should resign. I mean, that would be my take, but I don't think he would take it, but I don't know.
Hoo-wee. Now, granted, these recordings are coming out, April 21st and today, so yesterday and today, but these are in the first couple of days after January 6th. This may have been, I should have wrote it down, but I forgot. This may have been from either January 7th or 8th. But of course, you know, and that was Liz Cheney's voice you heard right off the top in a phone call. Well, I wonder who recorded it. Cheney's spokesperson says she didn't record it or leak the tape. Well, who the hell recorded it? But I find it interesting that, well, politics, isn't it just funny? This ain't no accident. You know that, and I know that. But I do want to make clear that this recording that you just heard and a couple of other things that you will hear coming up, this is not something that happened last week. And I think if you have followed me so far, you probably know that. But again, the he and the him that Kevin McCarthy is talking about is, of course, Donald Trump. He even says to Cheney right there, well, you guys know him. I don't think he's going to resign. I'm going to talk to him. I think I'm going to pick up the phone and give him a call. And then the most shocking, if you will, if this does shock you, maybe it doesn't. But how about the most potential red hot portion of that recording is McCarthy saying at the end, yeah, I'm going to recommend Donald Trump that he resign. Now, there are other bits that have been released as well. This I know from January 11th of 2021.
And I've been very clear to the president. He bears responsibilities for his words and actions. No ifs, ands, or buts. I asked him personally today, does he hold responsibility for what happened? Does he feel bad about what happened? He told me he does have some responsibility for what happened. And he needs to acknowledge that.
Now, did you notice, not to play, Inspector Clouseau here, but there is a difference between this quality.
And I've been very clear to the president.
Okay, and this quality.
Is there any chance?
Obviously, that first one we played for you and then the one you just heard, that is a phone conversation. This quality.
And I've been very clear to the president.
That is via, no doubt, a Zoom meeting. That is an internal House Republican Zoom meeting. I would imagine for the House Republicans that were on that Zoom meeting, the discussions there would be considered absolutely classified. So who released this? I don't know. There are plenty of Republicans, as you know, that also really hated Donald J. Trump. So who speaks out? Who speaks out and who has spoken out about Kevin McCarthy basically being a liar? Well, a lot of people have, but maybe not as much as
these new freshman Democrats that came in. On the day they were sworn in, that night, they said they were going to impeach the mother. You had Adam Schiff continuing to lie.
Okay, he mentions Adam Schiff there. Okay? Adam Schiff, who I think is one of the biggest liars in Washington, D.C. Adam Schiff earlier, well, he's saying how much, in fact, Kevin McCarthy is a liar.
This was 2010, and we were seated together on United Airlines flying back to the Capitol. I really don't think I'd spoken 2 words to him up until that time, not for any dislike, but his district is far from mine. We just never had any opportunity to speak. And we had that kind of conversation you have on a plane before the movie starts and you can escape.
Right.
It was a total nothing burger who was going to win the midterms. And I said I thought the economy was going to be good and we were going to win the midterms. And he thought the Republicans were going to win the midterms. And
he got you there. 2010. That was a tough one for us.
His forecasting was better than mine. That's true. But the movie starts, and that's the end of the conversation. We get to D.C. We go our separate ways. I don't remember what his position in the Republican Party at the time was, but he gave a press briefing that night, unbeknownst to me. And he told the press that I had said that the Republicans were going to win the election, which was absurd and completely false.
Literally the opposite.
And literally the opposite. Well, I didn't know about this that night because I had to wait till the newspaper came out in the morning to even know that he'd given a briefing. So, one of the Hill papers comes out in the morning, and it quotes McCarthy as saying, everybody knows Republicans are going to win the election. I sat next to Adam Schiff on the airplane last night, and he admitted the Republicans were going to win the midterms. And I was
just lying for lying's sake.
Oh, it was breathtaking. And I made a beeline for the House floor and went right up to him in the middle of the House floor, and I said, Kevin, I would have thought if we were having a private conversation, it was a private conversation, but if it wasn't, you told the press the exact opposite of what I said. And he looks at me and he says, yeah, I know, Adam, but you know how it goes.
Now, that's unbelievable if you actually believe anything that Adam Schiff says. Adam Schiff has probably been accused of being a liar more than Kevin McCarthy. That, by the way, was Adam Schiff on some left-wing podcast. Well, turnabout is certainly fair play, and while Schiff says McCarthy's a liar, McCarthy has certainly said Schiff is one as well.
These new freshman Democrats that came in, on the day they were sworn in, that night they said they were going to impeach the mother. You had Adam Schiff continuing to lie. Remember when he came before America to said he was so upset he thought the administration was going to withhold a whistleblower from coming forth? The only reason America has not heard from this so-called whistleblower is because Adam Schiff has held him back. Why? Because Adam Schiff lied to the American public about whether he even knew who the whistleblower was, because he met with them. This is what they're building this house of cards on, nothing but lie after lie, because all they want to do is try to impeach this president because they know they cannot defeat him in the polls.
Give me a wink of your eye if you feel that there were, multiple lies that were told consistently on the floor at the United States Capitol during the Trump impeachment proceedings. There were lies after lies after lies. There's one here and here and here and here and there and there. Steve Scalise, before we take our first break, we'll open it up for phone calls, 303-696-1971. Steve Scalise, back in the day during impeachment from the, I believe, House floor.
You literally have a chairman who was running around for 2 years during the whole Mueller investigation saying he had, quote, more than circumstantial evidence that there was collusion between the president and Russia. And then the Mueller report comes out, and there were no charges. There was no collusion. In fact, the chairman never showed his secret evidence. If he had evidence, more than circumstantial, his quotes, then he should have showed it to the American people, but he didn't, because there was no evidence. Those were the facts. And if the facts were there, he would have shown that evidence. It didn't exist. And so instead of moving on and taking care of the work of the people of this country, it's another witch hunt. It's another fishing expedition in secret.
Steve Scalise, Congressman, Louisiana. We will take your phone calls. Also coming up in the rest of this hour, we'll take a look back again at the sound that was for this week. And we go to the break again with the big story as we head into a weekend. Wow, those Kevin McCarthy tapes, and it's not as if he came out in front of the cameras, did he, back around January 6th of last year and said, well, you know what, I've had a conversation. I did recommend that the president resign. That's funny that never happened. I guess the moral of our first segment is, do you trust any politician? And I would say most politicians probably lie. We're back to the break.
I don't want to rush things. I want everybody to have all the information needed. I've had it with this guy. What he did is unacceptable. Nobody can defend that, and nobody should defend it.
News Talk 710. Update.
The U.S. is hoping to establish a long-term solution with other world powers to help fund Ukraine's war with Russia. The Pentagon press secretary says the U.S. is continuing to send defense support, as well as asking countries who rely on Russian services to draw back as much as they can. A Florida mayor is critical of the decision to eliminate Disney's special self-governing district. The mayor of Orange County said the move would be catastrophic for taxpayers and the county's budget. His remarks came before Republican Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill that said Disney World is no longer a self-governing body and stripped the company of its special tax status. Elon Musk says he has a ton of money ready to go if he decides to move forward with buying Twitter. In a new filing, he revealed $46.5 billion of financial commitments. Musk also said he's looking at purchasing some or all of Twitter's shares from those currently holding stock in the company. He says this is because Twitter's board isn't responding to his initial offer. He previously said he'd buy the social media giant for about $43 billion. This report is sponsored by Allstate. Saving money feels pretty good. Allstate. Better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today. Richard Robertson, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Good Friday afternoon. Traffic starting to get busier across these highways. And we do have a couple of problems. That drive on I-70 backed up. Crash on westbound 70 right near Quebec, Monaco. Exit 278 slow there back to Havana. At 270 drive, pretty jammed. If you headed westbound, that's only 20 minutes across Commerce City. No problems there. Do have a crash in the Aurora areas. Northbound 225 up near I-70. At 225, you backed up to 6th Avenue. Crash out east. Eastbound 70 shut down. Stratton to Burlington. I'm Susan Thielen.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If you're looking to hire, look to Indeed. With Indeed's hiring platform, you can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Why Boot Barn for your business? Because nothing is more important than your workers' safety and your peace of mind. With a commercial account at Boot Barn, you get a customized program specific to your business. The largest assortment of work boots and workwear for every industry. The convenience of having a one-source nationwide supplier and nationwide customization. You need safety and compliance. We have your back. Commercial accounts at Boot Barn Work.
Get the inside scoop on weather happenings across the region with the Day Weather Podcast to get the inside story on what is really happening with weather patterns and climate across the Rockies and High Plains. It's not just a forecast, but also the nuts and bolts of what is going on with the weather and why. The Day Weather Podcast will give you insights on what drives our weather and climate without the hype and misrepresentation so common today. Find the Day Weather Podcast on iTunes, dayweather.com, and many other podcast platforms.
House Bill 1233 proposes a dangerous change in eye care and is being pushed by special interests in the Colorado legislature. This bill gives eye surgery privileges to optometrists, who are not medical doctors or trained surgeons like your ophthalmologists. Who thinks that's a safe idea? Not 87% of Colorado voters, who in a recent poll said they believe if the law were changed, optometrists should be required to complete clinical and surgical residency programs the same as for ophthalmologists, who are your medical doctors and trained surgeons. However, the same poll shows 96% of registered voters have not heard anything from their state legislators about this dangerous bill. So please, don't wait any longer. Tell your legislators only surgeons should perform eye surgery.
Paid for by Colorado Society of Eye Physicians and Surgeons.
News Talk 710, KNUS. Listen live on Odyssey. News Talk 710, KNUS.
O'clock. DJ action from Michael in there. We're on until 7. We've got a great show underway and only made better by your participation. Again, 303-696-1971. You can text the studio via the free-to-download app, and, of course, feel free to send an email to my inbox via the website or the app and live streaming audio. Also want to welcome those of you watching us on YouTube, the 710 KNUS YouTube channel. At some point, this is going to be just as common as the sun rising. There's the boss just walked into the master control rooms. You know that we are live right now on YouTube. My mom's watching. Crowley's watching because he has to. And maybe Mrs. Crowley. She's probably still at work, but Welcome to those of you watching and listening. Thank you. We're talking about Kevin McCarthy and these leaked tapes right after January 6th of last year.
I don't want to rush things. I want everybody to have all the information needed. I've had it with this guy. What he did is unacceptable. Nobody can defend that, and nobody should defend it.
Well, who in the wide world of Donald Trump leaked those recordings? I still find it hilarious. Mentioned it last segment that Liz Cheney's spokesperson, it wasn't her. She didn't record it and she didn't release it. But if you feel that all politicians are in fact liars, or certainly most of them, I don't know, maybe you don't believe her. Great texts coming in. Here is one. I can't stand Schiff, but I also can't stand McCarthy. I've heard enough behind the scenes stuff about McCarthy, and he's slimy as bleep. And then this one from our great listener, Steve. The fact that McCarthy is chatting with Liz is sufficient grounds for me to remove him from my circle of trust. On the other hand, Steve Scalise is terrific. I agree. Absolutely terrific. I hold him in high regard. Steve says, agreed that most politicians are, in fact, pathological liars. Brian in Arvada joins us. Brian, thanks for your patience, man, and you're on the program. Happy Friday.
Hey, happy Friday. Well, we know Shiphead's a liar, and so we don't have to, even go there down that road.
Agree. Yeah.
He lied about the Russia collusion, and then it came out it never happened. So, but he has no repercussions. So that guy is, he's dead to me, and he should be dead to everyone else. But here we have McCarthy, which we kind of had some hope in. We kind of had some faith in that he's going to be the new speaker. But now, screw him.
I think, you know what, even if you don't say screw him, I think you're spot on. The chances of him now getting the speakership, should the red wave happen in November, I think pretty much you can almost stick a fork in him.
Oh, well, one comment by Donald Trump saying, listen to these tapes, what a liar this guy is, he's done. And so Scalise is my guy. Scalise took a bullet. Scalise almost died. Scalise has been there, not just pro-Trump, but just pro-Trump policies, and unapologetic about it. He's my guy for speaker, and now McCarthy, done. He's a two-faced liar. Scalise might be, but at least he's not. Because you never know about politicians.
I know, brother.
You can't trust them all. You can't trust any of them, and so. It just really is disappointing because I had hope in McCarthy because he was taken on the media, he was taken on the left, but now it comes out he's appeasing to Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney's a loser.
Right. So let me ask you this: with what we have said when it comes to maybe we don't trust any of them. How much do you trust, say, the word from Liz Cheney's camp that, oh, by the way, Representative Cheney, she didn't leak it. Oh, and she didn't record this either. I mean, how can you believe that at this point?
Oh, you can't. I don't believe a word Liz Cheney says. And that's the thing is I don't believe a word half the Republicans say in the House or the Senate. Mitch McConnell, I don't like him. I think he's a two-faced liar.
No, I'm not a fan of Mitch.
So here we are. We have this opportunity where the left is just destroying the country, destroying our state, destroying the country, and we have people that have no spines, and they're two-faced, and they're the ones we have to count on to take back the House and the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't trust them from anybody. So here we go. We have a perfect opportunity, and we have these two-faced liars leading our party.
Yep. Brian, great call, man. Have a great weekend, and I appreciate it as always. If you're just tuning in, the recordings, these are not new recordings. They are newly released, but this voice you'll hear Liz Cheney talking with House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy just after January 6th.
Is there any chance, are you hearing that he might resign? Is there any reason to think that might happen?
I've had some few discussions. My gut tells me no.
McCarthy there. Let's get to Jay in Littleton, and then we'll get a newscast coming up. And Jay, welcome. Good afternoon.
Happy Friday, my brother.
You too.
The previous caller, I pretty much agreed on all points. I would say Scalia is just about as much a rhino as anybody else in there, though, so I don't take that for what it's worth, if anybody's just now figuring out that McCarthy is a scumbag, they haven't been paying attention for the last 2 years, or for that matter, 3 or 4 years.
Good
really.
point. Yeah.
The guy is I don't know any actual conservatives in Congress, of which there are probably 5, and I'm not joking, I'd say 5, don't walk around with cutting boards on their back just the entire time they're in D.C. in that swamp. That McCarthy should be, not only should he never be given the speakership, but that guy should be he should be up on some charges. Surely we can come up with something, for God's sake. This guy is just nothing but a traitor, just like the rest of them. I don't trust 98.5% of every single person in Congress. And anybody who does is a fool.
Yeah.
And I will leave it at that.
All right, brother. Have a great weekend. Always appreciate it. Again, you didn't hear this in the, quote, mainstream media. You did not hear this. And look, over the past few years, I really have, and whether or not this alienates me from you, I hope it doesn't. But, a lot of tough talk from Kevin McCarthy in the past, especially when he has targeted his fellow Californian, Queen Pelosi. I've watched those live stream. I think they're on Thursdays. I think it's Pelosi on Thursday morning, and then later on the Republicans, and McCarthy has his weekly press availability. And a lot of the stuff that comes out of those, I'm glad this guy's in. But see, at one of those live stream Republican briefings with reporters literally on Capitol Hill, in one of the offices at the U.S. Capitol, he never said stuff like this.
I don't want to rush things. I want everybody to have all the information needed. I've had it with this guy. What he did is unacceptable. Nobody can defend that, and nobody should defend it.
I believe the appropriate kind of description is stick a fork in him, because he's done. Now, to the break, I will say this. Had he been like that in front of everyone, you may not have liked it at all. You may not have agreed with one syllable that Kevin McCarthy was saying if he had said that kind of stuff in public. But when you say one thing in public and then you go 180 when you think you're out of the public eye and what you are saying is not being recorded or it would never see the light of day, friends, that's a hypocrite. I would have had much more respect, even if whether I agree or disagree, I have so much more respect for somebody that at least sticks to it. That's why I know for a lot of people, I've told you, Ron Hanks will not beat Michael Bennet. Ron Hanks will not beat Michael Bennet. But don't just hang up the phone on me, so to speak. Ron Hanks, I have told you earlier this year when he was on with me for almost 30 minutes, I do respect, even if I disagree, I respect somebody that'll at least say consistently what they mean and mean what they say. And though I don't feel Ron Hanks will win, and I don't think he frankly has a chance, when he was on with us earlier this year, and I've recapped this many times over the last few weeks, when I asked him, was the election stolen? Yes. Is Joe Biden the legitimate? No. Did Donald Trump win? Yes. I even asked him at the end, if you were with us earlier this year, I said, you have any regrets about that campaign commercial where you blew up a copier that was supposed to be a Dominion voting machine? Boom. No. You know what? I at least respect that. You're sticking with what you have said, and you're sticking with your beliefs. You're not waffling. Did Kevin McCarthy do that? The answer, absolutely not. When we come back, we're done with phone calls for this hour. So if you want to join us in the 4 o'clock hour, if you want to call in, we're also going to, we'll continue talking about McCarthy, but also I want to get into Earth Day for maybe a couple of reasons that you would not think I would bring up. But we'll have that straight ahead. And in our next segment, we'll give you a recap of the sound, at least some of it, that we talked about this week. Now, if you felt that voter fraud impacted the results of the 2020 presidential election, Dinesh D'Souza is out with a new film. It tells the story of what he believes happens. It's the new documentary film 2,000 Mules. 710 KNUS presents the exclusive limited release premiere of 2,000 Mules here in Denver, 2 days only. It's Monday, May 2nd and Wednesday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Get your tickets today for either of the premieres, 2000mules.com. That's the number, 2000mules.com. 710 premiere of Dinesh D'Souza's 2,000 Mules, 2 days only. Again, Monday, the 2nd of May, Wednesday, the 4th of May. Get your tickets today, either of the premiere showings, 2000mules.com.
Now, news, traffic, weather, and the latest on Ukraine.
A memorial service was held for the El Paso County Sheriff's K-9 who was shot to death in Manitou Springs. Sheriff Bill Elder told those inside New Life Church in Colorado Springs that Jinx was extremely busy in his short career.
K-9 Jinx was deployed 124 times for patrol-related calls for service, conducted 64 narcotics deployments, and 58 SWAT deployments.
Sheriff Elder also says he's pretty certain that Jinx saved deputy and police lives last week when he went after an armed suspect. Jinx started training with his K-9 handler in 2020. President Biden says the Republican Party is the MAGA party now. The president spoke in Seattle and argued that this isn't your father's Republican Party. The president insisted Republicans who know better are afraid to act correctly because they know they'll face primary challenges. Alaska Airlines is allowing previously banned travelers to fly again. The company says more than 1,700 passengers were banned over the past 2 years after refusing to comply with the federal mask mandate. Officials say some travelers who were particularly egregious will remain blacklisted. And a Florida man isn't pressing charges against Mike Tyson after the former boxing champ punched him in a fight. The man has a long criminal record, including previous convictions for fraud, grand theft, burglary, drug possession, and trafficking in stolen property. He was sitting behind Tyson when he began harassing the boxer, who reacted by punching him and leaving him bloodied. If you're going to play with fire, expect to get burned. Richard Robertson, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Couple of crashes in the drive. I-70 getting busier. Do have a wreck there. Westbound 70 near Quebec, Monaco. Exit 278. Slow from Havana on over toward Brighton Boulevard. 270 starting to deal with some slow traffic. Both directions at that westbound drive about 20 minutes across Commerce City. I-25 headed northbound. You get a jam up right around Hamden. Slow up into downtown. That southbound drive getting busier in that same area. Now we get a crash over in Aurora. Northbound 225 at I-70. Jam towards 6th Avenue. I'm Susan Thielen.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com.
It's going to be very windy, strong and gusty south winds. Temperatures through the rest of today will be very warm into the low to mid 80s. We're looking at gusty winds tonight, winds shifting to the northwest. Lows will be down into the low to mid 40s. Colder Saturday, upper 50s with a few scattered showers in the afternoon and maybe a few in the morning. Could see a chance of showers again Sunday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist Don Day, 710 KNUS.
It's still the right time to get away to the Claremont Inn and Winery. Do you need a quiet getaway or something more adventurous for the weekend? Now is the perfect getaway time, and the Claremont Inn offers exactly what you need. Maybe a cooking class, a round of golf, or enjoy a murder mystery or an escape room challenge. Hands-on Saturday cooking classes are back and a perfect way to spend an afternoon. And you have options. Claremont kitchen classes specialize in grilling, making Italian pastas and sauces, and even how to create the perfect dinner party. Whether you're a kitchen pro wanting to finesse your skills or the dinner reservation specialist, you'll learn some chef's tips and tricks and enjoy a delightful afternoon in the Claremont kitchen. Stop dreaming and start packing for your getaway to the Claremont Inn and Winery, Colorado's hidden treasure. Learn more about finding a getaway package that's perfect for you at ClaremontGetaways.com. That's ClaremontGetaways.com or call 888-291-8910. That's 888-291-8910.
It's easy and profitable to be kind to others when you enter the Kindness Challenge. Each day for 30 days, we'll post a new act of kindness that you can do for others. On June 1st, you could win $5,000, and a deserving organization will also receive $5,000 in your name. You can make a difference in others' lives when you enter the Kindness Challenge.
The Kindness Challenge is brought to you in part by Littleton Jewelry, your home for custom jewelry, diamonds, and repairs.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
News Talk 710 KNUS. Listen live on Odyssey. Now back to Steffan Tubbs. News Talk 710 KNUS. Denver's local talk leader.
Easing you into your Friday afternoon. It's one of those songs, whenever I hear it, I don't turn it. Little Ambrosia comes in, hits that high note. Welcome back. 49 minutes after 3 o'clock, and it's a quick end to the music because we don't want to make the attorneys upset, of course. Glad you were with us. The big sound from today comes from leaked recordings from just after January 6th. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy said, what?
I don't want to rush things. I want everybody to have all the information needed. I've had it with this guy. What he did is unacceptable. Nobody can defend that, and nobody should defend it.
We will continue to talk about that in the 4 o'clock hour, as well as a look at Earth Day 2022 from maybe a little bit different perspective. So we'll have that coming up. Let's get into now some of the sound that we discussed with you and you discussed with us this week. Why don't we start with the egg roll? And even though I know the answer's out there somewhere, why do they have the Easter egg roll on the White House lawn the day after Easter? We begin our look back.
Keep going. Good job, Ariel. Keep going. Ariel, this way. This way, Ariel.
Okay, just stay.
Sir Sylvia, just sit. Don't move. She's a teacher.
I'm the teacher, you know.
She's a teacher.
Russia, more than just launching an invasion, more than just launching a war, is undertaking a campaign of terror, a campaign of brutality, a campaign of despicable aggression. Russia.
T-minus 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, guidance release, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. The engine's now building up to 7.7 million pounds of thrust. We have a launch commit and we have a liftoff. The swing arm moving back. The Saturn V lifting off the power.
I hate saying this, and I hate to have to admit this, but that was, I believe that was about the lowest point in my life. That was the lowest I'd ever felt as a human being.
President, on Title 42, sir, are you considering delaying lifting Title 42?
No, what I'm considering is continuing to hear from first of all, there's going to be an appeal by the Justice Department, because as a matter of principle, we want to be able to be in a position where if in fact it is strongly concluded by the scientists that we need Title 42, that we be able to do that. But there has been no decision on extending Title 42.
Trying to ask for an autograph, man.
Hey, Mike, come on. Let's go stop back.
Mr. President, should people continue to wear masks on planes?
That's up to them.
Are you going to
Would you like to appeal the ruling or the ruling that the judge made striking down the mandate?
I haven't spoken to the CDC yet. As I said earlier, through the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which I might add, I wrote the original one with my own paw. I wrote it, sat down and wrote it.
So this thing, that's the new reactor?
That is. That's it.
That is the newest nuclear reactor in the United States. There's 2 of them being built here outside Augusta, Georgia. When combined with these other reactors built in the 1980s, this will be the largest nuclear power plant in U.S. history.
We're building the future of energy, and we think nuclear power is a major part of it.
Chris Womack runs the Georgia Power Company, which is overseeing the final construction of the first nuclear reactors in the country in more than 3 decades.
Tonight, the Navy is investigating the deaths of 3 sailors assigned to the aircraft carrier USS George Washington in Newport News, Virginia. They all died within a week of each other. No word yet on the causes of their deaths, but the Navy says they don't appear to be related. One sailor died aboard the ship on April 15th. The others were found days earlier at separate off-site locations.
And liftoff of Starlink 414.
How much owe you, ma'am?
$1.50.
There you are. Keep change.
Just keep your eye out for that Mr. Bender.
Let me have a Diablo sandwich, a Dr. Pepper. Make it fast. I'm in a goddamn hurry.
You want something? Hush puppy, Daddy. We got no time for that crap. You son of a bitch. Diablo and Doc.
Stacking my slip. You must be in a hell of a hurry, huh, Sheriff? Bet your ass on that boy. Oh, you got a little mess there. Let me help you out here. Get that off of there. That's away from an officer.
Much obliged.
Who are you chasing? Somebody chasing you?
Nobody's chasing me, boy. I was chasing a goddamn maniac all the way from Texarkana, Texas.
Really? Was he a bank robber?
This brother. Bank robbing his baby alongside of what this dude is doing.
Yeah.
Almost killed 20 law officers. Driving through people's backyards, knocking down mailboxes. Got a broad in the car, took across the state line, got the man out. I don't think he's got a permission, and that's getting him. How's that for hijinks? What
Oh, let me pay for it. Let me pay for it.
No,
you're an officer of the law. I'd be honored.
Yeah, much obliged. Where's the can? I gotta take the squirt.
Right back there. Just one.
Mr. President, will you be sending more artillery to Ukraine?
Yes.
And finally, as we look back at the week that was, the new sound from today.
Is there any chance, are you hearing that he might resign? Is there any reason to think that might happen?
I've had some few discussions. My gut tells me no. I'm seriously thinking of having that conversation with him tonight.
That Kevin McCarthy just released secret recordings from just after January 6th. Just some of the sound that we discussed with you this week on 710 KNUS. When we come back, we begin hour number 2. More on McCarthy and Earth Day 2022 from a different perspective. Stay with us. News is next.
George Brockler here. I hope you enjoyed the temperatures because they dipped down this weekend. But guess what? Monday, Jimmy S. will be in for me as I'm tearing it up on the slopes with my son for the last day this season. Heidi Ganal on Tuesday. Dave, say my nickname Williams on Wednesday, and you on 710 KNUS.
George Brockler, weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on News Talk 710 KNUS.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. For the last 6 years, those on the left have insisted there's no greater imperative than protecting our democracy. If they really believe that, they've got a strange way of showing it. Take the Biden White House's response to 2 new Alabama laws. One requires boys and girls to use bathrooms appropriate for their biological sex. The other prohibits doctors from performing sex reassignment surgery on minors. The bills passed the state legislature with 4-1 support in the state Senate and 2-1 support in the House. Democracy, the people speaking through their lawmakers, doesn't resonate more clearly than that. But the Biden White House didn't applaud the operation of our democracy. It threatened litigation. It may try to overturn the laws in the courts. That's not democracy, and it makes you wonder. When the left talks about protecting democracy, are they actually just insisting that they always have the right to get their way?
Publicpolicy.pepperdine.edu.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month. And that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need, 844-57-BIBLE. That's 844-57-BIBLE, 844-57-BIBLE.
Life's about choosing where you want to go and mapping out a financial path to get there. Of course, things don't always go according to plan. An experienced financial advisor can help you avoid potential hazards and find alternate routes. The right financial advisor is there for the journey, helps you plan for what's coming, makes adjustments along the way, and helps keep you on track to reach your goals. Are you on the road to success? Contact us for a complimentary review to find out.
Call Alpha One Tax and Wealth at 833-650-7526 or visit alphaonewealth.com. News, traffic, weather, and the latest on Ukraine. News Talk 710, KNUS, Denver. The news now.
It's 85 degrees. 710 traffic and weather is just ahead. President Biden isn't mincing words about the crisis surrounding climate change.
The crisis on the environment has become so obvious, with the notable exception of the former president, that we really have an opportunity to do things we couldn't have done.
Speaking in Seattle during Earth Day, the president called the climate crisis an opportunity to transition to a clean energy economy. He said that includes mass production of electric vehicles and charging stations across the U.S. Here's 710 traffic and weather.
Bunch of problems already. That driving I-25 northbound running crowded out of the tech center from Yale up into downtown. There's a stall northbound at University that is in the left lane. A stall westbound I-70 out near Kipling. Left lane is blocked there. Now we get a car fire eastbound 76 near 270. I'm Susan Thielen.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If you're looking to hire, look to Indeed. With Indeed's hiring platform, you can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Strong winds will continue through the evening and early nighttime hours. Overnight lows in the low to mid-40s. Strong and gusty southwest winds. Those winds will be shifting to the northwest on Saturday. Saturday, colder and windy, upper 50s. A few showers early Saturday, a few showers late Saturday. Lows Saturday and upper 30s. A chance of showers and a few thunderstorms Sunday, highs 50s. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist Don Day on 710 KNUS.
It's 84 degrees. This report is sponsored by Allstate. Looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today. It appears a possible active shooter situation in a Washington, D.C. neighborhood is over. Reports say that 3 people were shot. Video shows a man in custody, but it's not clear if he is the suspect. Police tactical units can be seen packing up and leaving. The Denver Police Department says those attending this week's 420 Festival in Civic Center Park listened to warnings about not consuming marijuana. The department says no citations were issued for public marijuana consumption during Wednesday's festival. The only arrests made during the festival were for trespassing and fighting. At the closing bell today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 981 points to close at 33,811. The S&P fell 121 points to 4271, and the Nasdaq dropped 335 points to 12,839. Richard Robertson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Portions of the following program have been pre-recorded. A longtime newsman with an opinion, a proud dad, and American.
Degrees in downtown Denver. Good afternoon, Colorado. 3 minutes now past 4 o'clock. It's Friday, April 22nd. Hope your day has gone great so far. And we begin hour number 2 of the program. It's obviously so dry out there and extreme fire danger, red flag warnings up and down the Front Range. And if you thought, wow, it's April 22nd, it seems pretty warm. Well, we just got word from the National Weather Service that it has hit, and of course it could get even warmer over the next hour to 90 minutes, 2 hours. The official record for this date was 88 for a high, and DIA, the official measuring of the Denver temperature, just earlier today, in fact, within the last hour or so, hit 89. We have just set a record that had stood since 1989. So we'll continue to follow the weather, news, traffic, weather for you as we continue Friday afternoon into Friday evening. Glad you are with us. Welcome to those of you, just maybe you are watching right now. And hello to you, friends, on our YouTube channel. We are live streaming, and this will become, over the next couple of weeks, we're just going to do this every single day, so you can watch us on YouTube. Be sure, if you go to the 710 KNUS YouTube channel, subscribe there. And I did joke that we're only asking for your credit card number and your Social Security. That's absolutely not true. We just have you subscribe, and then you'll get alerts as to maybe if we're doing live events and so forth. So thank you for watching like that, and we'll certainly become more of a habit to remind you can also watch. Somebody already had written into the wall of love via text that, hey, love watching this. It's great. I can listen. And when are you going to burn the ugly Padres hat? Oh, I'm not, Mr. or Mrs. Texter. The reason is, starting tonight, a 3-game series at Petco Park against the dreaded Los Angeles Dodgers. Big NL West matchup. Glad you were with us. And we start off the conversation today. Our guest, Sheriff Tony Spurlock from Douglas County. But last night, I'm glad I wasn't in this part of Douglas County. Listen in. Multiple arrests made. In fact, 7 people taken into custody last night. This is involving 2 prior drug-related deaths. And Sheriff Spurlock is kind enough on a Friday afternoon to join us. Always good to talk to you, Tony, and thank you. What do you know? What can you tell us about this?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. So we served a search warrant, a narcotic search warrant last night on an address in Wildcat Ridge, which is between Lone Tree and Highlands Ranch right there off of Quebec. And this house has been, quite frankly, a house of interest of ours for multiple calls for service, to include in early January 2 deaths that are under investigation currently right now, in a separate investigation with the federal government and our agency into the cause of those 2 deaths. But this warrant last night really came about some intelligence information that was gathered. There were a number of people at the house, a person of interest that we wanted to talk to at the house, and we had information that there were drugs at the house. So we sought a search warrant with a lot of other information, served that search warrant last night on the house. And as you said, we detained 7 people. We arrested 2. The other 5 were later released. And the 2, one was the homeowner, the other was a person who had a warrant for their arrest for failure to appear on a drug warrant out of Arapahoe County. And so it has caused a lot of consternation for the neighborhood, and obviously a lot of concern. We've had a number of police pursuits away from that house from persons who were staying in there. And so issued the warrant last night. Yes, it was quite noisy. We, had to announce ourselves, and of course they didn't comply as requested. So we used some gas and some other ways and means to get them, encourage them to come out of the house. And we did without incident, harm to anybody. Like you said, we've got 2 in custody, and one's got a $25,000 bond. The other one has $2,500.
Sheriff Tony Spurlock, Douglas County, our friend of the program, kind enough to join us. I don't know if this is even something that you would feel free to talk about, but I'm just wondering, this is, as I'm looking at more information, I think of the 7,000 block of Lions Head Parkway. This is, as you know, Sheriff, this is the suburbs. Things like this only happen in major urban areas like Denver in Decay or Aurora in Decay, et cetera. When you guys go in something like that, do you let literally the next door neighbors, do you let them know? Do you try to get them out just in case something goes wrong?
So we have been working with the neighbors, and they have been very, very cooperative with us. And we've been working. I made sure that the neighbors were aware, and they had been in contact with our officers. And so we had been working with them. But you're exactly right. This is not something that we see in Douglas County regularly. This is, quite frankly, a nuisance house that has had a number of issues related to drugs and drug possession, and so it has caused an issue with us. We again applied for a search warrant, received it. Now the results of the search warrant are still obviously being worked on by the detectives. Not sure exactly what all was taken out of the house, but we ultimately did file manufacturing, dispensing charges and possession of controlled substance charges on the owner of the home who we took into custody. And so I know that they're doing some further investigation in regards to her responsibility and dispensing or possession of dangerous drugs.
So one woman, and was the other one a man?
It was. The other one was a man. Yes.
Now, I don't want to ever assume, especially when it comes to something so serious as this, but what you guys did last night, and again, I misspoke. 7 people were taken in and detained, as you said, and then 2 were eventually arrested. The other 5 released. But when I hear about 2 drug-related deaths in this troublesome home, the times we live in, and especially sadly in the state of Colorado, were these fentanyl-related deaths?
Well, I can tell you that the deaths were related to fentanyl. I can tell you that, yes. And that investigation is ongoing. The individuals that were arrested last night and the search warrant last night was separate from the death investigation, but it is at the same house, so it kind of makes you stop and wonder why.
Yeah.
But yes, fentanyl has played a role in this, and we've had, as you know, a number of fentanyl deaths in Douglas County and much more in the Denver metro area. It is an incredibly dangerous drug, and there is a lot of it on the street. And so we along with other narcotics units, have been very aggressive. And so last night we turned that on, and we were very aggressive in addressing that house, and hopefully we can correct that behavior. Yeah. And we can put that nice community back at ease.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, and again, Tony Spurlock, Sheriff Douglas County, our friend of the program, and I appreciate this. And we've had the Drug Enforcement Administration, the special agent in charge, the acting special agent over the last month and a half here for an hour at a time in studio with us. I would assume you did allude to that the federal investigators are also working with you guys and vice versa. How big a fentanyl problem is it in Douglas County? And you've got to be, you've been in the Dougco Sheriff's Office a long time before you were sheriff. And I wonder if you've seen anything like this or at this level. And I hope that this is a wake up call, that this is not only that, as the special agent in charge, Besser, told us not too many weeks ago, that this is no longer a go to the seediest part of town and the darkest alley or the darkest corner and get this. This needs to be, I think, a wake-up call for the suburbs of Denver.
It is, and Steffan, think about it this way, and this is what's happening. It has significantly changed since the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Just this last year, we've had 5 deaths that are fentanyl-related, probably over 10 overdoses that were saved by a variety of different means. But those individuals that were subject to both either those overdoses or the deaths are suburban people who have jobs for the most part. They're not the person, like you said, the seedy part of a metropolitan area. Yeah. These are middle class and upper class people engaging in risky behavior, and they are taking an incredible risk with their life by doing any kind of cocaine or M30s or any opioid drug right now, because DEA will tell you, and I'm sure they did on your radio show, 1 in 3 pills are impacted by fentanyl to the degree that it could be fatal. And that's just not drug entertainment. This is dangerous to our community and to our society. And we've had a number of deaths recently where we put out information. Do not, if you know this person who died, do not take any of the drugs or associate with anybody on those drugs, because the likelihood of you having a fatal amount of fentanyl in your possession, that you're one hit away from dying. Just trying to get people to say we're going to stop.
Mm-hmm. I honestly to God, friend, I hear your words and my hair stands on end, because I know this area you're talking about. This is, like you say, suburbia. This is, and we have so many people. Oh my God, well, it'll never happen here. I mean, the chances then of getting it into schools and high schools. We know of the death in El Paso County, a kid right at, I believe, her desk, earlier this year. Do you think that what you guys did last night, and I know you can't talk too much because it's an ongoing investigation, but do you think that, and obviously action like this from authorities, hopefully you can disrupt that chain kind of custody, whether they're manufacturing it there or the middlemen, so to speak, but hopefully this will disrupt it and maybe send a message as well.
Well, we hope that we have disrupted it to a degree, but one thing that we do know is that a lot of the people that we've contacted at this house over the past several months are users. And quite frankly, they were using that house as a flop house, a drug use house, not so much a dispensary house. But a lot of people were coming and going from there. And we hope that we've disrupted it, because maybe, we can save someone's life. Well, there's no place for them to go take this and hang out for a day and a half. And so they're just not going to do it, because it is so incredibly dangerous right now that you have no idea what you're taking, and why take that risk?
Yeah.
Why take that risk with your life?
Your deputies, I would assume, Tony, are carrying now, maybe they have for a long time, Narcan?
We do. We carry Narcan with us all the time. We've had a number of Narcan saves. Sadly, I can tell you that we've had fentanyl smuggled into, or attempted smuggled into, our jail, and we've had fentanyl saves inside our jail. It is just an incredible epidemic right now, and I've never seen anything like it before, where this type of drug is being laced with other types of drugs, and quite frankly, the entire drug network is being impacted by fentanyl-laced narcotics and drugs. It's so incredibly dangerous right now.
Listen, I mean, hats off to you, as if you all did not have enough to deal with just with the quote unquote, and I know there's no normal crime, but I think you know what I mean. Real quick, because I haven't had you on, I mean, how are you watching as this bill is kind of morphing into a different thing than it first was presented when it comes to, you know, fentanyl and laws with and whether it's a felony or a misdemeanor with possession? Where do you stand as the sheriff right now as to, again, realizing that this thing is still kind of being crafted?
Sure. Well, I stand with the county sheriffs of Colorado, and our position is that we need stronger punishment, if you will, for the amount of drug issues, and they have a degree of amount of drug that is just too high. The smallest amount of fentanyl can kill you, and so to have it at a misdemeanor level is, in my opinion, incredibly dangerous for the state of Colorado. So I want more strength in this law. I would like to have more things done in this law, but we are taking a stance at this point right now where it's got to be a stronger penalty to defer people from using and dispensing fentanyl or fentanyl-laced narcotics. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done on this bill, and there's still time. Legislators still have time to do the right thing, to work together, and quite frankly, get it away from politics, and let's get back to serving our citizens at the capacity we're supposed to as elected officials, and that is making sure that our community is safe for the people that live here.
Amen. And may they listen to you and other county sheriffs, obviously. I can't thank you enough for your time, and best to your deputies out there dealing with all the normal stuff that you have to deal with every day, and you never know what's going to happen. But with this epidemic that is hitting us right now, and yes, friends, even in the suburbs, a tip of the cap to you, Sheriff, and thank you so much for your time as always. Enjoy the weekend.
You betcha. Thank you, and you do the same.
Thank you.
Again,
Tony
Bye-bye.
Spurlock, our friend of the program there. It's unbelievable. Not that I expect you to get out Google Maps right now. This is not a seedy, sickening part of town, if you will. Right in the area between Lone Tree and Highlands Ranch, 7,000 block of Lions Head Parkway. This happened last night. I'm telling you, they don't get paid enough. They do not get paid enough to have to deal with this. And by the way, also, here's another thing you can do. You can check out the map. You can see that what I'm saying, what the sheriff is saying, is true. This is not, this seedy, dark, gross, dangerous corner of Denver and Decay. What did Casper Stockham say in Denver and Decay when we filmed it damn near 2 years ago? The film ends with Casper's words: "Watch out, suburbs, because it's heading your way." And if this is not proof positive, I don't know what to tell you. By the way, you can still, on our website, 710knus.com/Steffan, you can still see Denver and Decay for free. No, we didn't cure the problem. We didn't really put the film out to cure anything. We just wanted you to see. And I would have said, Michael, if you had asked me nearly 2 years later, what do you think? Will it be any better in quote unquote Denver and Decay? And you know what? I probably naively would have said in 2020, yeah, it may be a little bit better. Friends, you know that it's only gotten worse. And now last night, 7 detained, 2 taken into custody, 1 man, 1 woman, 5 were later released. Thank goodness those neighbors were cooperating. Can you imagine that all of a sudden? What the hell is going on in my street? And 1 in 3 pills out there are likely contaminated with fentanyl that could kill you dead. That is Absolutely unbelievable. 5 deaths in Douglas County of fentanyl this year, or the last year, and more than 10 overdoses in the county, and some in the Douglas County Jail. The 2 dead, found January 21st in that troublesome house, as the sheriff talked about, Juan King, 56, and Kayla Seymour, just 30. Thank you, as always, to all of you in law enforcement. We've got your backs on this program. And one other thing, wanted to bring up a text that came in before we even brought the sheriff on. This text came in last hour from one of our law enforcement friends in Aurora. Quote, just had the 3rd shooting of my shift in Aurora in Decay. Today. 3rd shooting, 1 shift, 1 officer, 1 city. We must be tougher. We must be. And to think, as we go to the news break, to think that the mantra that was accepted, because they never said anything, the mantra in parts of 2020 into last year, defund the police. That was their mantra. You, friends, hopefully will remember that when it's time to vote. We'll set up the rest of the program. Glad you were with us. And again, thank you to Douglas County Sheriff Tony Spurlock. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube or have access, you can watch us here in studio via the 710 KNUS YouTube channel, and be sure to subscribe, and then you can get updates, get alerts when we're on. Michael, let's take our break now. Much more to come as we are off and running on a Friday afternoon. Steffan Tubbs with you, 710 KNUS.
News Talk 710. Update.
U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia defended her comments ahead of the January 6th riots at the U.S. Capitol while testifying as a part of a challenge to her re-election by voters and a supporting legal group who are seeking to knock her off the ballot for her role in the riot. Greene appeared before an administrative law judge because a handful of voters in her district, represented by a nonprofit called Free Speech for People, say that Greene should be disqualified because they allege she encouraged and supported the rioters who stormed the Capitol. While on the witness stand, the Congresswoman repeatedly said that her charged rhetoric ahead was not a call for violence. Lawyers with Free Speech for People are citing a provision in the U.S. Constitution that forbids any member of Congress involved in insurrection from serving in office. It passed in the years after the Civil War to prevent former Confederates from returning to their seats in Congress. However, the legal theory is mostly untested in modern history. More sexual assault and harassment allegations have been reported within the Cherry Creek School District. This comes after hundreds of students walked out of class protesting the district's handling of an incident at Grandview High School. An email from a local parents group brought out new allegations claiming that 5 more cases of sexual assault within the district since Tuesday's walkout. The U.S. is disputing Russia's claims that it has seized the Ukrainian port city of Mariupol. Pentagon spokesman John Kirby noted there are still pockets of resistance despite the Kremlin's claims. The fall of the city would be a key win for Moscow's campaign to seize the eastern part of the country. This report is sponsored by Allstate. Saving money feels pretty good. Allstate. Better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today. Richard Robertson, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Heading up out of the tech center, running crowded northbound I-25. Had that crash in a fuel spill up near University. That is gone. Northbound I-25, heavier should leave Arapahoe Road on up into the downtown area. It sounds like there may be a stall northbound I-25 up near I-70, and that is over in the right lane. Trouble on I-70 all cleared up. That drive heavier both directions between I-25 and 225, 270, 225, some minor delays. Bad crash. Florida and Federal, eastbound Florida closed at Federal. I'm Susan Thielen.
This report is sponsored by News Nation. Dan Abrams and Ashley Banfield are now back-to-back on News Nation. Get the news without the bias. Weeknights starting at 7 Mountain on America's fastest-growing cable news network. News Nation.
Hey, everybody. Contrary to popular demand and much to the consternation of many, I'm back Saturday. And man, oh man, do we have a lot to discuss. I haven't forgotten my promise to give my take on the Republican State Assembly, the gnashing of teeth by the consultant class, and the old Republican leaders. As usual, they're wrong. The RNC meeting was great. Hanging with Dinesh D'Souza, rigged 2020 is must-see, and you bet we're going to talk about all of it Saturday.
Wake up with Randy Corcoran, Saturdays from 9 to noon on News Talk 710 KNUS.
The fastest way to know what your home would sell for today is from the Ribble Group. Keller Williams DTC. Simply text your address to 800-763-3000. Don't call, just text your address to 800-763-3000.
Our workforce needs work. I'm Holly Robinson Peete. Join me, Delivering Jobs, and the Society for Human Resource Management in creating pathways to 1 million jobs for those with intellectual and developmental differences.
To learn more, please visit deliveringjobs.org.
Perfect air with a personal touch. Only Pastor Camp Heating and AC Inc. can give you authentic Lennox quality and service. They're the people you know and trust right here in our community. And for a limited time, they're offering up to $1,000 in rebates or make no payments for 6 months when you finance a new Lennox system for as little as $132 a month. To get quality Lennox equipment with trusted service provided by Pastor Camp Heating and AC Inc., call 303-777-1234 today or visit them online at pastorcamp.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. The Tanner Gun Show proudly supports the Second Amendment and the Don't Take My Guns movement this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Arapahoe County Fairgrounds. You won't find a bigger or better selection of new handguns, hard-to-find used firearms, tons of ammo, scopes, AR accessories, and more. Forget online shopping. At the Tanner Gun Show, you're free to see and handle your purchase before you buy. Get your guns while you still can at the Tanner Gun Show in Aurora. Tickets are available at the door or get them online at tannergunshow.com.
Spring is finally here with all its big moments and happy days, and we're celebrating the road easier way. Come try our new seasonal menu additions at no extra charge, and bring your loved ones to honor your special life milestones. Celebrate spring and celebrate you at Rodizio Grill, the Brazilian Steakhouse, 18th and Wine Coop in Denver. Parking validation available.
News Talk 710 KNUS. Listen live on Odyssey. The Just Headlines. This is Steffan Thomas. News Talk 710 KNUS.
Midway through the 4 o'clock hour, it is not 25 or 6 to 4, but it is about 30 minutes to 5. Steffan Tubbs, our producer, Michael Arpaio, Richard Robertson, more news with him coming up within the next 15 minutes or so. Once again, welcome. If you are watching us live stream, our Chief of Staff, Mark Crowley, is on it. We're on our YouTube channel right now. We're going to be doing this just as normally, so they say, as many times as I open up the mic just to say hello to you on the radio. We're going to get it to where in the next couple of weeks we're always live streaming. So quite honest with you, I got to remember, don't pick your nose. You know, don't do anything weird. And how about this? Just a pro tip. And I say this and I am joking. Don't be creepy on the wall of love when you text in. One of our great listeners, and I am busting his chops, he says in a text that came in a few moments ago, did Peter talk with his hands too? And I just responded, don't be creepy. Don't be creepy. Like, you know, I haven't been, you know, absolutely begging. I mean, I have asked Crowley every now and then, so when are we going to get these things, these cameras going? But I haven't been, please, I want to be seen. That's not it. So don't be creepy if you're watching. I see what you're wearing. I mean, that's just weird. Thank you to Douglas County Sheriff Tony Spurlock. I've got to be honest with you. In talking with the sheriff earlier today and graciously on a Friday afternoon, willing to talk about last night. And again, if you are just tuning in, the sound, as somebody just said, I've got a friend that lives in that area. These are $1 million homes. Mr. or Mrs. Texter, you would be exactly right. But this was the soundtrack in those $1 million homes last night. You can also hear one of the drones, and that's not just somebody, oh boy, let me get the home drone out. No, that was part of, no doubt, that was part of some of the mechanisms that they used to, get into and make these arrests. Again, 7 people detained, 2 would eventually be arrested, 5 were released. A man and a woman, at least one of them held on a $25,000 bond. But they believe, and I know with when you have law enforcement on like Sheriff Spurlock, and this is obviously an ongoing investigation, he can only say so much, and I completely not only understand that, but I respect that. But I know he respects me and knows that he knows that I'm going to ask at least as many questions as I can before he probably has to just say, well, I can't answer that. And that did not happen. But he did allude to, well, they're working with the feds. Well, I guarantee you this, that more than likely they are working with our friends at the Drug Enforcement Administration, some of the individuals who represent the members of the Denver division of the DEA. We're going to move on because I want to talk about Earth Day today, but in a little bit different of a context. But I do want to say again, I probably don't need to tell you this, but damn it, when is this state going to wake up? And when are you, not you, but when are people in the suburbs that say, sadly, don't even know that this radio station exists, when are they going to wake up to the fact that some of the people that they are putting into office as state representatives or state senators, some of the things that they are talking about actually are important to seemingly fine white bread America neighborhoods like Lone Tree, Highlands Ranch, Castle Pines, Cherry Creek, who knows? I'm telling you, it is coming for us, and it can be described as the new fentanyl drug epidemic, crime, catalytic converter theft, vehicle theft, robberies, burglaries, assaults, rapes. That's why we preach all the time on this program. Good God, people, good God. Would you investigate as much as you can the people who you are voting for? And may we not be an idiot state that if this red wave comes in November, that it doesn't skirt around the borders of Colorado and then, reconvenes, say, in Utah and then the West. These types of things, it's why I say all the time, even though I hate even saying it, elections have consequences. And we talked about the bill that's being still crafted. They were going the original way that this bill was written and talked about and debated would make it a misdemeanor even if you had enough fentanyl to kill 2,000 people. And you look, she may not wear a white lab coat, but all of her buddies do, like that wonderful supervised injection site that isn't a supervised injection site at 8th and Lincoln right now in downtown, the old Le Central, that gray building right there where they're running around in lab coats and they don't, I might as well put my dog in a white lab coat because they've both got the same qualifications. Brittany Pedersen will be a congresswoman. She has all the blessings. She doesn't have any competition that's worth 2 hoots. Brittany Pedersen is going to take over Ed Perlmutter's seat in Congress. And how does she feel? She loves those people at 8th and Lincoln. She loves telling you that she cares, but, we've got to be more soft. And no, now, and you can mark my words and quote me, This is the time in this state. If we do not get tougher, it may literally be too late. And then everybody, maybe like you and me, we're going to go, yeah, it was too fortunate. Sure, unfortunate. Too bad. Gosh, dang. We have the opportunity to make it to where law enforcement can do their jobs. We have the opportunity to elect people that will be tough. This is the time in this state's history that we must be tough and be all about law and order, because without that, do you like what you have so far? Do you like what you have even since the summer of hell 2020? I could continue this, trust me, for the rest of the night. It's just so obvious to me that we have certainly created part of this problem, and we coddle and we don't want to offend. We've got judges that will let somebody in Denver get a gosh dang PR bond, though in their possession they had 20,000 fentanyl pills. If not now, when? Please be sure you're registered to vote. Please make the right decision at the ballot box. And please, I hope you agree with me that we must be tougher. No more, oh, let's just give them a PR bond and send them to counseling. Maybe somebody could stop by next week and bring them chicken soup. No, throw their asses in jail. Oh, you say it's overcrowded? Build another jail. Or it will be too late. Mark my words. With that, Michael.
I have spoken.
Damn right I have. I didn't plan on, honestly, Tony was amazing. I did not plan on having him on. That was triple the time that I thought he would be on. But it's unbelievable to me. All right, we got to move on. Why? Friends, it is Earth Day today. Do you recognize this voice?
People won't care about things that they don't know about and have never seen. And that your first job is to make clear what a wonderful world the natural world is. And you can't expect people to spend money or time or worry or concern or political action about an issue about which they really know nothing. So one comes before the other. It's quite true that you've got to decide when you stop one and move to the other, but you've got to do both.
God, that voice. I mean, just keep speaking. You sure don't sound like you're 95. That is the amazing Sir David Attenborough. He has earlier today been named the champion of the earth. I don't know what could be bigger. I mean, you know, Michael, last year, the Colorado Broadcasters Association named me the talk radio host of the year. I didn't win it a second time, but, you know, they kind of spread the wealth. But I thought that was big until you see that Sir David Attenborough on Earth Day is named the champion of the earth. That makes me just kind of stay in the shadows, and that is totally fine. The UN's Environment Program gave the prestigious award to the 95-year-old for his commitment to telling stories about the natural world and climate change. Friends, it is Earth Day 2022. Why is it that if you, and I've said this probably 4 or 5 times, I think I'm going to make you a promise. We're going to talk about it today, and I will probably maybe bring it up next year on Earth Day. But I have a question for you as we get ready for the newscast. Why is it that if you, say, want clean air, you don't like pollution, you don't like trash, you want clean rivers and streams, clean mountains, you want clean city air, why is it that the Republican Party conservatives seemingly only have the reaction of either eye rolls or any number of reactions? I think I've got one of the answers, and I'm going to play you an audio example. First of all, it's those people that would wag their finger at you and say, see, you never took it seriously. Now all the icebergs are melting. The oceans are going to rise. See, you didn't believe me 30 years ago. First of all, I can't stand people like that. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's hard for conservatives, in a certain sense, to grasp that and kind of take that in. And let me tell you what was released today by your federal government. Our tax dollars paid for this complete and utter bullshit spot. Listen to this and try not to vomit.
It's Earth Day, and we want to talk to you about the biggest threat our world is facing, climate change.
That's why we're working together to combat the climate crisis in ways that reduce costs for American families every day.
Climate change impacts everyone, but we know that the climate crisis disproportionately impacts communities of color and poor families.
Thanks to President Biden, America is back when it comes to addressing the climate crisis.
Here at the Department of Transportation, we're teaming up with the Department of Energy to help pave the way toward an electric vehicle future. We're building charging networks that are going to help make EVs more affordable, convenient, and reliable for all Americans.
A key piece of President Biden's infrastructure law is $62 billion to the Department of Energy to accelerate clean energy technologies.
From cleaning up power plants to cutting emissions from cars and trucks, EPA is taking ambitious action to reduce climate pollution that harms people's health, especially Black, brown, and low-income communities.
Especially Black, brown, and low-income communities. Pander much? You see, it's Earth Day. We've got one planet. One that we live on. Now, we can have a discussion down the road. We haven't had a Sasquatch Wednesday, Bigfoot Wednesday in, good Lord, a couple of years. We can have that maybe coming up in the next few weeks. We can also talk about the fact that we have one planet, but I think that things are too big. There's got to be other intelligent life out there, but that's for another program. But when it comes to Earth Day, I'm a conservative. I've been called all kinds of names. I don't care. I care about the environment. Have you ever met a conservative or a Republican that at a cocktail party or a discussion at work or maybe among your family or friends, a Republican or a conservative that says, I don't care about it. I don't care if that river is polluted. I don't care if it's so smoggy that some air quality muckety-muck puts out a warning that if I've got asthma or if I'm elderly that I should stay indoors. I don't care about that. You say, I don't know, go buy a candy bar as you're filling your tank up with gas. And instead of, when you open up the candy bar and you pull out the Snickers, you don't care, and you prove it by you just throw the wrapper anywhere you want. See, I haven't had those conversations. But I do say this, that it is so easy to have an eye roll when you hear from the federal government, like you did today. They put this out proudly. Mayor Pete and everybody else, they put it out proudly on social media that, they cram it down your throat, and then they've got to use words like inequality and equity, and even on Earth Day, you've got to somehow weave your narrative in that we care about all of these things in Mother Earth, and especially to the communities of color and those who are low income. I think that's one of the reasons why maybe it's usually the vocal, we got to save the earth, we got to protect the earth, because maybe people like you and me, we've had it with the shame and guilt if they could stop that. But you know what? They don't care. They like that. Take your phone calls, 303-696-1971. We've got to take a news break now. Steffan Tubbs with you, heading toward 5 o'clock. This is 710 KNUS.
Now, news, traffic, weather, and the latest on Ukraine.
President Biden is criticizing Florida's Republican lawmakers for their decision to dissolve Disney's self-governing district. The president said there's nothing conservative about deciding you're going to throw Disney out of its present posture. Florida's governor signed a bill stripping Disney World of its special status, meaning that Disney World is no longer a self-governing body and is stripped of its special tax status. Firefighters with South Metro Fire Rescue quickly extinguished a trash fire this afternoon after the driver of a garbage truck dumped the truck's fiery load in a parking lot. The fire started in a garbage truck and the driver dumped the contents into an open lot to save the truck. No structures were threatened and no one was injured. Firefighters remained on the scene to check that embers didn't drift in the wind and spark a nearby extension of the original fire. The quick-thinking driver quickly dumped the load in part because the truck operates on compressed natural gas, which is potentially explosive. The plan to build a border wall in Texas may be derailed by a tiny flower. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is looking to place one species of milkweed on the endangered list, and experts say that it only grows in areas where the fencing is being erected. Leslie Uppinghouse with the Ladybird Johnson Wildflower Center says that milkweed is important because it's a food source for the monarch butterfly, which migrate to Mexico. Richard Robertson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Latest problem on the highway just cleared up. A stall northbound I-25 up at I-70. That drive real slow from right around Lincoln Broadway as you cut across downtown. Off-highway crash in the drive, Florida and Federal, eastbound Florida closed. And a wreck northbound Parker Road past Arapahoe. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast Biscuit Sandwich. Just $1. It's better breakfast o'clock at Wendy's. Get a hot and buttery Wendy's breakfast biscuit with bacon or sausage, fresh cracked egg, and cheese for just $1. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Strong winds will continue through the evening and early nighttime hours. Overnight lows in the low to mid-40s. Strong and gusty southwest winds. Those winds will be shifting to the northwest on Saturday. Saturday, colder and windy, upper 50s. A few showers early Saturday, a few showers late Saturday. Lows Saturday and upper 30s. A chance of showers and a few thunderstorms Sunday, highs 50s. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist Don Day on 710 KNUS.
Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Colorado Flat Fee Realty.
In today's active real estate market, don't pay too much to sell your house. Colorado Flat Fee Realty is now offering a 2% option. If you were selling a $500,000 house, the agent typically charges you 6%. That's $30,000 for just a few days of work. Colorado Flat Fee Realty has a much better way. On that same $500,000 sale, you would save thousands with Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option, why would you list your house with anyone else? Pay less, keep more. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Call 303-300-9660 to find out more. 303-300-9660 or visit ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com.
Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Pay less, keep more, save thousands.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
This is Matt Crowder live at the gas station on 41st Street reporting on those skyrocketing gas prices. Excuse me, miss, are you buying less gas now because of the high prices?
Oh, I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Get Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute, are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Well, does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, well, there you have it. Stop paying full price for gas. Download the free Get Upside app and get real cash back every time you buy gas. This is Matt Crowder, Radio News Network. Download the free Get Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RAIN for a $5 bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code RAIN for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code RAIN.
News Talk 710 KNUS. Listen live on Odyssey. Text the studio directly on the 710 KNUS app. Get it free at the App Store.
continue the Earth Day discussion, somebody says, "Wait, you're mixing up climate change and pollution." And no, I don't want dirty water and streams, et cetera, et cetera. Well, with all due respect, no, you're wrong. Climate change, litter, trash, dirty air, dirty water, all of it is in the soup of what they say. It's not just climate change. And a couple of great texts saying it's the climate change stuff that's crammed down our throats that makes me just want to tune out, in essence. And I get that. One call before the top of the hour, and that goes to Chris in Aurora. Hello, brother, and good afternoon to you.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
I'm sorry, man. I heard what happened, and
Uh-huh.
I apologize. Yeah, but it does show me that at least on that particular day, you didn't listen until the end.
I didn't. I think I was your last caller. I think I asked you if this was April Fool's, and you said no, and whatever.
Well, I don't remember that part, but anyway, go ahead, and I apologize.
It's all good. It's all good. Hey, you saved me some money. It just deprived me of any hope.
Let's find that right candidate, brother. We need to find that right candidate in Denver.
I'll do whatever I can. But
Yeah.
hey, you actually bring up a really good question about why does the left get to corner the market on Earth Day and caring about the environment and climate change. And I think about it a lot because it goes back to my overall theory that liberals are masterful at stealing the language.
Mm-hmm.
They steal the label, they steal the language, they co-opt it for their own. And because the media carries the water for them and our education system turns out a bunch of turnips when it comes to understanding how this stuff works, people buy it. For instance, people will say progressives and progressives care about the environment. No, they don't. Progressives care about power, but we give them license to use the word progressive. There's nothing progressive about their tax policies. There's nothing progressive about charging $50,000 for a car that nobody wants.
Yep.
That's not
However, as you know, brother, that there's going to be a point, and God willing, you and I are still alive, when there will be states like California and Colorado that don't even let you buy a vehicle with a combustible engine anymore. And I don't like that, but I think at some point it's going to be. I don't even think you can buy a gas-powered lawnmower in California anymore.
You can't. And, my answer to that is that I have never met a conservative who doesn't want clean air, doesn't want clean water. I've never met a conservative that looks at the mountains and says, hey, we should really turn that into an iron ore depository.
Right.
I've never met a conservative who's done that. And the thing that irritates me is that if you're not for big government, therefore you don't care about the earth. But what is so oxymoronic about that is that people forget that it was an alleged conservative, Richard Nixon, who created the EPA. But yet people run around and go, conservatives don't care about the earth. And nothing could be further from the truth. What conservatives care about is making sure that whatever policy you pass is actually going to solve the problem. So if you force people to buy electric cars, well, then you still got to have oil, and you still got to have gas, and you still got to have minerals to build the batteries to power these things. Where is all that going to come from?
Mm-hmm.
And the alleged progressives don't think about that.
No.
So when it comes to why do they get to act like they care about the earth and we don't, it's because they have co-opted the language. Until we win that war, we're always going to look like we don't care.
It's a great point. I got to go because the computer's going to cut me off. Brother,
care.
You have a great rest of your day and into the weekend. Always appreciate Chris's input. Always spot on. We can continue this. Let me ask you a question as we go to the top of the hour, and we'll talk more about Kevin McCarthy as well and the leaked recordings. Do you think that we don't have an idea of climate change the way they see it because, well, you don't buy the melting and all of that and the temperature rise, or is it something more? A lot more to talk about. Halfway through the show coming up.
Hey, everybody, contrary to popular demand and much to the consternation of many, I'm back Saturday. And man, oh man, do we have a lot to discuss. discuss. I haven't forgotten my promise to give my take on the Republican State Assembly, the gnashing of teeth by the consultant class, and the old Republican leaders. As usual, they're wrong. The RNC meeting was great. Hanging with Dinesh D'Souza, rigged 2020 is must-see, and you bet we're going to talk about all of it Saturday.
Wake up with Randy Corcoran, Saturdays from 9 to noon on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher for MediShare. If something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, right? Switching to MediShare to pay for health care can save the typical family $500 a month. Wow, what would you do with $500 extra every single month? Pay some bills, fill up your gas tank, even as challenging as that is these days. Maybe take a vacation. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. I learned that the customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. It's amazing. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. And the very best part of all is that people save money and they're happier with MediShare. MediShare is a godsend. Give them a call right now, 855-94-BIBLE. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. MediShare, here's the number, 855-94-BIBLE. That's 855-94-BIBLE for MediShare.
It's still the right time to get away to the Claremont Inn and Winery. Do you need a quiet getaway or something more adventurous for the weekend? Now is the perfect getaway time, and the Claremont Inn offers exactly what you need. Maybe a cooking class, a round of golf, or enjoy a murder mystery or an escape room challenge. Hands-on Saturday cooking classes are back and a perfect way to spend an afternoon. And you have options. Claremont kitchen classes specialize in grilling, making Italian pastas and sauces, and even how to create the perfect dinner party. Whether you're a kitchen pro wanting to finesse your skills or the dinner reservation specialist, you'll learn some chef's tips and tricks and enjoy a delightful afternoon in the Claremont kitchen. Stop dreaming and start packing for your getaway to the Claremont Inn and Winery, Colorado's hidden treasure. Learn more about finding a getaway package that's perfect for you at ClaremontGetaways.com. That's ClaremontGetaways.com or call 888-291-8910. That's 888-291-8910. The Tanner Gun Show proudly supports the Second Amendment and the Don't Take My Guns movement. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Arapahoe County Fairgrounds. You won't find a bigger or better selection of new handguns, hard-to-find used firearms, tons of ammo, scopes, AR accessories, and more. Forget online shopping. At the Tanner Gun Show, you're free to see and handle your purchase before you buy. Get your guns while you still can at the Tanner Gun Show in Aurora. Tickets are available at the door or get them online at TannerGunShow.com.
News, traffic, weather, and the latest on Ukraine. News Talk 710 KNUS, Denver. The news now.
It's 81 degrees. 710 traffic and weather in just a moment. President Biden is talking about his plans to reduce the cost of prescription drugs. Speaking at Green River College in Auburn, Washington, the president announced he wants Congress to limit the price of insulin to $35 a month, which is 3 times what it costs to make the drug.
Let's cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month. That still means cost them 3.5 times as much as it costs them.
The president also wants to limit what seniors pay for prescription drugs. He wants an oversight process for increases in drug prices, and he wants to give Medicare the authority to negotiate drug prices. Here's 710 traffic and weather.
Couple of crashes backing up I-70, westbound 70 near Colorado Vasquez. Running heavy there from 270 on over stop and go traffic. There's a wreck westbound I-70 at Federal, jammed back to I-25. And slow traffic with a crash northbound Parker Road, just past Arapahoe. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If you're looking to hire, look to Indeed. With Indeed's hiring platform, you can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Strong winds will continue through the evening and early nighttime hours. Overnight lows in the low to mid-40s. Strong and gusty southwest winds. Those winds will be shifting to the northwest on Saturday. Saturday, colder and windy, upper 50s. A few showers early Saturday, a few showers late Saturday. Lows Saturday and upper 30s. A chance of showers and a few thunderstorms Sunday, highs 50s. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist Don Day on 710 KNUS.
It's 80 degrees. This report is sponsored by Allstate. Looking to save money with DriveWise from Allstate? The safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today. The Pentagon press secretary says the U.S. is continuing to send defense support to Ukraine. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is hoping to establish a long-term solution with other world powers to help fund Ukraine's war with Russia. He said drones being sent to the Ukrainians will meet their needs to help fight the Russians in the Donbass regions. An update on that Washington shooting. 3 people, including a child, were injured this afternoon when police say gunfire erupted in a busy area in the northwest Washington. They plunged the whole area into lockdown. Police are still searching for the shooter more than 2.5 hours after the first shots were reported. On Wall Street at the closing bell today, the Dow Jones lost 981 points to 33,811. The S&P fell 121 points to 4271. And the NASDAQ dropped 335 points to 12,839.
Portions of the following program have been pre-recorded. A longtime newsman with an opinion, a proud dad, an American, supporter of our veterans and active duty military. Common sense discussion begins now. This is the Steffan Tubbs Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
82 degrees in downtown Denver. Good evening, Colorado. It's Friday, April 22nd, 2022. 3 minutes now past 5 o'clock on this Earth Day 2022. People have an eye roll with that. Good discussion last hour, and thank you for the texts and calls coming in, and we will certainly continue that discussion. We are on until 7 o'clock tonight. Steffan Tubbs, Michael Arpaio, our producer, Richard Robertson in the newsroom, and I cannot wait. I hope that you joined us for our film this week from 1952, shot in beautiful black and white. Don't Bother to Knock, a psychological film noir with Richard Widmark. This really reminded me, I could see this as a stage play. It was based on a book that was written just a couple of years prior to the film being produced and released in 52. Richard Widmark, Anne Bancroft in her very first film role, and Marilyn Monroe as a complete psycho. I could not have enjoyed this movie more. I hope that you watched it with us. You could actually start it now and be done with it before we even start our review next hour. It's only 76 minutes long, but I would bookmark this. Even if you didn't watch it with us this week, we'll play clips, trivia, and more coming up in a little more than 90 minutes or so. But Don't Bother to Knock. I am so glad that I picked it out of the blue. I was just looking at a couple of film lists. So that is coming up in the 6 o'clock hour, about 6:40 or so. And we've got a lot to talk about, a lot to get through. And I want to start with the secret recordings that were released. Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader. Well, this is proof because I have not heard anyone say, that's not him on the recordings. No, it is him, the California congressman. And even on a Friday, I like to have a little bit lighter of a show on Friday, but this is some pretty big stuff. This is a big deal. And like I said, a lot of text coming in on this and phone calls as well. But so we're all on the same page. The release today, or within the last 24 hours or so, of these recordings made shortly after January 6th of last year. And one of the interesting things that I thought was, where does Liz Cheney feel? What does she play in this? What was her role? I mean, this is the same day that Marjorie Taylor Greene was testifying today. And you know how it has been with this January 6th commission They are relentless. I don't have proof positive that they've thrown ethics out, but I certainly have my opinions on that, and I know you do as well. And if they've got one crumb, they're going to try to make this the size of Mount Evans, even though I don't think Mount Evans is going to stick around as Mount Evans, but we've talked about that earlier in the year. Here's one of the bits of information that came out, and I find this just quite interesting. A spokesperson for Representative Liz Cheney said the following in relation to questions about leaked audio of House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy calling for former President Trump's resignation after the January 6th Capitol riot. And I quote, this is from the spokesperson for Liz Cheney. The Select Committee has asked Kevin McCarthy to speak with us about these events, but he has so far declined. Representative Cheney did not record or leak the tape and does not know how the reporters got it. Close quote. Let me tell you one thing. Liz Cheney, she's nothing but happy about this. But this first voice you hear will be the Wyoming Congresswoman. And then we'll get more into it. And you kind of got to ask yourself this. Do you believe any of them? Do you believe anyone in D.C.? And well, we'll get into the recording first, and then I'll give you a couple of thoughts on Kevin McCarthy, who, in front of the cameras, so-called, I guess, in front of the nation, says one thing, and then these recordings come out.
Is there any chance, are you hearing that he might resign? Is there any reason to think that might happen?
I've had some few discussions. My gut tells me no. I'm seriously thinking of having that conversation with him tonight. I haven't talked to him in a couple days. From what I know of him, I mean, you guys all know him too. Do you think he'd ever back away? But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to call him. This is what I think. No, it'll pass the House. I think there's a chance it'll pass the Senate even when he's gone. And I think there's a lot of different ramifications for that. Now, I haven't had a discussion with the Dems that if he did resign, would it not happen? Now, this is one personal fear I have. I do not want to get into any conversations about Pence party, anything like that. I mean, the only discussion I would have with him is that I think this will pass, and it would be my recommendation you should resign. I mean, that would be my take, but I don't think he would take it, but I don't know.
Thoughts? The he and the him that McCarthy is talking about is obviously Donald Trump. This recording was either, I can't remember the exact date, it was either the 7th or 8th of January 2021. A lot of you are sending texts in, I knew it. Kevin McCarthy's a traitor. He always was a traitor. Here's another part of a recording that was released within the last day or so.
I don't want to rush things. I want everybody to have all the information needed. I've had it with this guy. What he did is unacceptable. Nobody can defend that, and nobody should defend it.
As far as this red wave that, a lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans are saying slam dunk. I wouldn't, it's not going to be a slam dunk in Colorado. If there is a red wave, and let's go with geography from where the polls close in this country, the red wave or tsunami would start in November with the midterms on the East Coast. And so here we come. We've crossed the Ohio River Valley. Here we come to the Midwest. Here comes Kansas. Here comes Colorado. It's going to skirt Colorado. Maybe it reforms in Utah and then hits the West Coast. I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing, Kevin McCarthy, you can stick a fork in him, whether you like it or not. Maybe you agree with what he says. Many of you do not, and I've seen it in your text today. But I think you can stick a fork in him for ever becoming House Speaker. Those two were obviously phone calls. This is from a Zoom meeting. You can tell by the difference in audio quality. And this was from January 11th. Again, this is stuff that should be, well, members of Congress should feel like if this is going to be recorded, it will never come out. And again, you can make your own decision whether or not that's right or wrong. But we all know politics, and we all know there are, and there will be forever, closed door. People say things behind closed doors that they would never say in front of the country or to the country. So let me play you this. Kevin McCarthy, January 11th of last year.
And I've been very clear to the president. He bears responsibilities for his words and actions. No ifs, ands, or buts. I asked him personally today, does he hold responsibility for what happened? Does he feel bad about what happened? He told me he does have some responsibility for what happened. And he needs to acknowledge that.
Now, here's where I have the problem, and maybe you do as well. It is one thing to say what you say to members of your party in a Zoom meeting, behind closed doors. But if you say exactly 180 degrees opposite in front of cameras and recorders and to reporters, you're a hypocrite. And who has, of course, jumped on this is, to me, one of Congress's biggest liars, and that would be California Congressman Adam Schiff. This is an anecdote from Adam Schiff. He appeared on some lefty podcast, but this is Adam Schiff telling these folks and the listeners there just what a liar Kevin McCarthy is.
This was 2010, and we were seated together on United Airlines flying back to the Capitol. I really don't think I'd spoken 2 words to him up until that time, not for any dislike, but his district is far from mine. We just never had any opportunity to speak. And we had that kind of conversation you have on a plane before the movie starts and you can escape.
Right.
It was a total nothing burger who was going to win the midterms. And I said I thought the economy was going to be good and we were going to win the midterms. And he thought the Republicans were going to win the midterms. And
he got you there. 2010. That was a tough one for us.
His forecasting was better than mine. That's true. But the movie starts, and that's the end of the conversation. We get to D.C. We go our separate ways. I don't remember what his position in the Republican Party at the time was, but he gave a press briefing that night, unbeknownst to me. And he told the press that I had said that the Republicans were going to win the election, which was absurd. And completely false.
Literally the opposite.
And literally the opposite. Well, I didn't know about this that night because I had to wait till the newspaper came out in the morning to even know that he'd given a briefing. So, one of the Hill papers comes out in the morning, and it quotes McCarthy as saying, everybody knows Republicans are going to win the election. I sat next to Adam Schiff on the airplane last night, and he admitted the Republicans were going to win the midterms. And I was
just lying for lying's sake.
Oh, it was breathtaking. And I made a beeline for the House floor and went right up to him in the middle of the House floor. And I said, Kevin, I would have thought if we were having a private conversation, it was a private conversation. But if it wasn't, you told the press the exact opposite of what I said. And he looks at me and he says, yeah, I know, Adam, but you know how it goes.
Oh, it must be so unbelievable to live in the glass house that Adam Schiff lives in. I'm not trying to take away from what McCarthy said. He said it. Again, there's no question that that is his voice. I have a huge problem with hypocrites. It's the last thing that I ever want to be on this program with you. But Adam Schiff, nice little anecdote there. I played that for you so you would know that, well, one of the biggest liars feels the need and feels justified in sharing a story about another liar, who he says is Kevin McCarthy. It's freaking nuts.
These new freshman Democrats that came in, on the day they were sworn in, that night they said they were going to impeach the mother. You had Adam Schiff continuing to lie. Remember when he came before America to said he was so upset he thought the administration was going to withhold a whistleblower from coming forth? The only reason America has not heard from this so-called whistleblower is because Adam Schiff has held him back. Why? Because Adam Schiff lied to the American public about whether he even knew who the whistleblower was, because he met with them. This is what they're building this house of cards on, nothing but lie after lie, because all they want to do is try to impeach this president because they know they cannot defeat him in the polls.
Now, see, when I watched that on Fox News, how many months ago, I hear that and I'm going, yeah, totally agree with you, McCarthy. But then now you hear that maybe when it comes to January 6th, here is how he felt, but he did not ever come across that way in front of the cameras.
I don't want to rush things. I want everybody to have all the information needed. I've had it with this guy. What he did is unacceptable. Nobody can defend that, and nobody should defend it.
Now, of course, who is going to jump on the bandwagon and we told you, and now Kevin McCarthy is some kind of hero to our friends on the left? Well, there's already, and there has been, this is not brand new, but yep, complete with, I believe, music, the ad.
House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has never stopped covering for the mob of violent Trump supporters that ransacked the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. But now he's doubling down, threatening companies that comply with congressional subpoenas to supply phone records of House Republicans who egged on the insurrection that killed 5 people and injured hundreds of first responders.
Leader McCarthy threatened those same companies, saying the GOP would punish them if and when they retake control of the House, adding, quote, "A Republican majority will not forget."
Kevin McCarthy spoke directly to Trump on January 6th, and several members of his caucus even fed information about high-ranking Democrats' whereabouts to the January 6 terrorists after they breached the Capitol. What exactly does Kevin McCarthy not want us to know? America can't move on from that day without a thorough investigation. We deserve the truth. Subpoena Kevin McCarthy.
Always made that much more dramatic with their little music. Whether it's the sad piano bed or the dramatic do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. But this is a big problem. This is a big problem for Kevin McCarthy. Let's take you back to the House floor during impeachment. I don't know. I'm a fan of Steve Scalise of Louisiana. Take you back to when he had the floor.
You literally have a chairman who was running around for 2 years during the whole Mueller investigation saying he had, quote, more than circumstantial evidence that there was collusion between the president and Russia. And then the Mueller report comes out, and there were no charges. There was no collusion. In fact, the chairman never showed his secret evidence. If he had evidence, more than circumstantial, his quotes, then he should have showed it to the American people, but he didn't, because there was no evidence. Those were the facts. And if the facts were there, he would have shown that evidence. It didn't exist. And so instead of moving on and taking care of the work of the people of this country, it's another witch hunt. It's another fishing expedition in secret.
Yep. Steve Scalise he was referring to, of course, Adam Schiff. But what a mess. And who do you believe? I mentioned earlier in the program, usually Queen Pelosi, it's usually about 11:30 Eastern, about 9:30 or so, I think, Mountain Time. When the House is in session, she has her weekly press availability. We've got some real winner sound bites that have come out of the Queen's press availability. Half the time, she sounds like she's had 14 Cosmos before noon. But usually after that, it's the time where Republican House leadership and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy holds his press briefings. And we've got great stuff out of that over the months and years. But you see, when Kevin McCarthy was in D.C., and they're right there at the Capitol, and they're holding their press conference, and Fox and CNN and MSNBC are taking it live, you heard one thing. And no, it doesn't shock me, but it's certainly interesting. And oh, the timing is interesting, isn't it? Gosh, we're close to primaries around the country, and we've got a big election coming up in November where the speakership, if the red wave happens, could belong till the last 24 hours to the California congressman. You think this is going to help?
I don't want to rush things. I want everybody to have all the information needed. I've had it with this guy. What he did is unacceptable. Nobody can defend that, and nobody should defend it.
We got to take our news break, but many of you have used the word traitor in your texts to the studio. You know what? I'm going to let you have it because I haven't thought about it enough to give you a coherent, well thought out, do I personally think he is a traitor? So give me a little grace on that. I'm not trying to cop out or, waffle. What I have a big issue with instantaneously, though it doesn't surprise me because after all, they are politicians. Dude, if you felt this way, why didn't you let everyone know? If you felt this way and you had discussions literally with Liz Cheney, who, by the way, again, she says she didn't record them or release them to the media. If you really felt that way, you are nothing but an absolute flat out liar, liar, pants on fire. You may not have agreed, but at least you could have respected. And then the voters would have spoken. Does he get reelected? I don't know. Probably not. But in front of the cameras, you're saying one thing. And yeah, there's a lot of ammunition that you can use thanks to the liars like Adam Schiff and the Russian collusion lies and all of that. But then behind the scenes, you're going 180. That is where I know I have a huge issue with. Huge. We've got a special song to go into our news break coming up. You may not have known this, but it's National Jelly Bean Day. That's why, Michael, we have our special music. But first, on this Earth Day 2022, a couple of quick things, and I'll tell you about my friends at the Colorado Farm Bureau. It's cooler now, but today, on of all days, Earth Day 2022, a new record high in Denver, Colorado, USA. The old record was 88 degrees, set in 1989. Today, out at the airport, at the official measuring station, the temperature hit at least 89, and that set a new record for today. What else? We are on YouTube right now, live. So hello, if you are on YouTube and watching, you can be sure to go to the 710 KNUS YouTube channel. Subscribe there. We're not going to take any personal info, but you'll get alerts on when we go live, and we're going to be doing that more and more. And soon to be, within the next couple of weeks, every single day. Just another way you can watch or listen. My friends at the Colorado Farm Bureau know the importance of ranching and farming in our great state. But do you? And that's not a slam at all. But I have had, and I've shared this in my family tree, goes back generations to wheat farmers in both Minnesota and in Montana. And I've always had an affinity for those hardworking men and women, those legacy farms through the generations, still have kids getting up before the sunrise and working hard. And that's happening still right in our state. The Colorado Farm Bureau is an organization that has been around for more than 100 years. In fact, 103 years this year. And they know and they help protect and promote the industry of agriculture that is such a critical part of the Colorado economy. Billions of dollars every year. I am a Colorado Farm Bureau member, and I'm urging you, join me. No, you don't have anything to do with farming and ranching? That's fine. Neither do I right now. I don't. but I'm proud to be a member because you can support the efforts, say, advancing policies to keep food prices low and agriculture going strong. Farm Bureau works to push back against radical policies. Like last year, we talked about it, the Initiative 16, for example, would have driven up food prices even more and done their best, if they had passed it, to shut down cattle ranching here in our state. Join me. Become a member of the Colorado Farm Bureau. It's easy. You can designate your specific county, all the information to become a member, and it's not going to break the bank. It's coloradofarmbureau.com. That's coloradofarmbureau.com. Also, one of the things we're watching, you may notice there are some clouds coming in, but it's still pretty warm out there. There's some smoke that's also in this, and of course a red flag day today up and down the Front Range. There's a big grass fire that is burning out east near Lamar. That is in southeastern Colorado. Apparently right now the smoke plume is so big it is seen on radar. Evacuation notices as of the 3 o'clock hour in Shivington and Brandon, Colorado. It's a fire. Don't make jokes about Brandon. Time out for now. As we go to the break, it is National Jelly Bean Day, and you may thank me for reminding you, or you may hate me for playing this song.
Jelly beans, I love jelly beans.
Proving we love variety, Michael. Let's hit it.
Update.
The U.S. is hoping to establish a long-term solution with other world powers to help fund Ukraine's war with Russia. The Pentagon press secretary says the U.S. is continuing to send defense support, as well as asking countries who rely on Russian services to draw back as much as they can. A Florida mayor is critical of the decision to eliminate Disney's special self-governing district. The mayor of Orange County said the move would be catastrophic for taxpayers and the county's budget. His remarks came before Republican Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill that said Disney World is no longer a self-governing body and stripped the company of its special tax status. Elon Musk says he has a ton of money ready to go if he decides to move forward with buying Twitter. In a new filing, he revealed $46.5 billion of financial commitments. Musk also said he's looking at purchasing some or all of Twitter's shares from those currently holding stock in the company. He says this is because Twitter's board isn't responding to his initial offer. He previously said he'd buy the social media giant for about $43 billion. This report is brought to you by Done Right. If you're gonna do it right or don't bother. Call Done Right for kitchens, baths, counters, and floors, and even replacement windows and doors. 800-362-8370 or drhi.com. Richard Robertson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Tech Center, we got a new problem with some kind of medical situation northbound I-25 approaching Bellevue. Traffic is backed up to Arapahoe. Once you get through all that, northbound I-25, speed still in the teens and 20s as you pass University on up into downtown. And we're backed up on westbound 70. It's a crash. Westbound 70 over near Colorado Vasquez. Running slow back to Peoria. Crash in the drive, jamming northbound Parker Road past Arapahoe. Traffic lights are messed up in Franktown, Highway 86 and Highway 83. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by News Nation.
George Brockler here. I hope you enjoyed the temperatures because they dipped down this weekend. But guess what? Monday, Jimmy S. will be in for me as I'm tearing it up on the slopes with my son for the last day this season. Heidi Ganal on Tuesday. Dave, Say My Nickname Williams on Wednesday. And you on 710 KNUS.
George Brockler, weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Colorado Flat Fee Realty.
In today's active real estate market, don't pay too much to sell your house. Colorado Flat Fee Realty is now offering a 2% option. If you were selling a $500,000 house, the agent typically charges you 6%. That's $30,000 for just a few days of work. Colorado Flat Fee Realty has a much better way. On that same $500,000 sale, you would save thousands with Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option, why would you list your house with anyone else? Pay less, keep more. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Call 303-300-9660 to find out more. 303-300-9660 or visit ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com.
Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Pay less, keep more, save thousands.
House Bill 1233 proposes a dangerous change in eye care and is being pushed by special interests in the Colorado legislature. This bill gives eye surgery privileges to optometrists, who are not medical doctors or trained surgeons like your ophthalmologists. Who thinks that's a safe idea? Not 87% of Colorado voters, who in a recent poll said they believe if the law were changed, optometrists should be required to complete clinical and surgical residency programs the same as for ophthalmologists, who are your medical doctors and trained surgeons. However, the same poll shows 96% of registered voters have not heard anything from their state legislators about this dangerous bill. So please, don't wait any longer. Tell your legislators only surgeons should perform eye surgery.
Paid for by Colorado Society of Eye Physicians and Surgeons.
News Talk 710 KNUS. Listen live on Odyssey. Steffan Tubbs. News Talk 710 KNUS.
This fire out east, southeastern Colorado. I love this part of Colorado. Was down there at least, almost a decade ago, if not 11 years ago, filming my it wasn't my first film, but one of my films, Droughtland. And there is a grassland fire burning near Lamar right now. And as of about 3:40 this afternoon, Brandon and Shivington, I had no idea there was a place called Brandon, Colorado. Certainly have heard of Shivington for all the wrong reasons. Smoke plume extends nearly 80 miles toward Burlington. It's burning 10 miles northeast of Lamar. That is in Prowers County. And one of our great listeners, Jason, is in Lyman and says certainly can smell the smoke. So on this day, you knew there was going to be a fire today because of the extremely dry conditions, the high temperatures. If you are just joining us, thank you. An all-time record high today at Denver International, at least 89 degrees, breaking the old record of 88 degrees back in 1989. So just be careful out there. And I'm nobody to tell you, but do you have ask you, I guess, do you have a fire plan? Just remember this, and I won't shame and guilt or anything like that. I'm not trying to be your mother, but you just remember that on December 30th in Boulder County, I bet you there were a lot of people and a lot of families that thought, we don't like fire. Fire is bad, but it'll never happen here. I'm just saying. 303-696-1971. Coming up in about an hour. I am really looking forward to this. Last week we had Titanic on the anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. This week I wanted to stay old school, and I was just scrolling through some movie lists, and I'm like, I've never heard of this one. Oh, Marilyn Monroe's in it. Oh, Richard Widmark. Always have liked him. This film was such a freaking surprise to me how much I loved it. Now, I love film noir, the genre. But this film, our film of the week, and we'll play Eclipse trivia and more, Don't Bother to Knock. It's 76 minutes long, and it's based on a book that was written just a couple of years earlier, and I loved this film. It's Anne Bancroft's first film ever. Richard Widmark, Marilyn Monroe as somebody you never want to be watching your children, most certainly. But we'll have clips, trivia, and more. Sponsored by our friend Danny Cash, Danny Cash Hot Sauce, DannyCash.com coming up. And, of course, we always love to support Colorado small business, and please do so. Visit Danny Cash either online, DannyCash.com, or in the River Point Shopping Center. That's in Sheridan near Santa Fe and Hamden. They've got an incredible selection as we're into barbecue season almost, at least today. I still think it's going to snow at least one more time. I still do. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but come on. You know Colorado. But barbecue season, and they've got hot sauces. I mean, stuff that you're like, they have this. It's just really, really cool. And military discounts of 25%. They've got great merchandise. They've got the hoodies and shirts and hats and stickers and all that. So visit this Colorado small business. Danny Cash just celebrated their 20th anniversary earlier this month. So make it a part of maybe, your to-do list. If you're looking for maybe a unique gift idea or just want some barbecue sauce or hot sauce, DannyCash.com. More news coming up. We'll keep an eye on the fire out east. Brian in Arvada joins us. Good evening to you. Happy Friday.
Steffan, it's been a minute.
It has. Hello.
And I hate that saying, by the way.
That's okay.
I flew back from Washington State on Wednesday. No mask. I walked through the airport with no mask. I got on the plane with
Wait
no
a minute.
mask.
Have you been out of town?
I went to Washington. That's where one of my daughters
But
lives.
I mean,
So
for a
visited
while, I
her.
guess obviously you just told me you were out. That was a stupid question. But have you been out of town a while? Because when this mask mandate came down, that they were going to, the federal judge in Florida, I specifically gave you a shout out.
Oh, you know what? I missed that. You know what? When I headed out, I think it was about almost 2 weeks ago because I spent a lot of time. But anyhow, when I headed out, I wore a mask because I had to. And then I was fighting the flight attendant. She was saying my nose was not covered. So me and
But
her,
see,
I
why do you
called
got
her
to
a
be that
mask.
guy? Come on. You know I love you.
Because
but
she doesn't have to be that girl. We
Well-
got to teach the young ones the right way.
Well,
we can't let these people
they're only-
run the narrative.
They're only.
But anyhow. So when you know how I am. I mean, I got in a fight at McDonald's over it. But anyhow, so I get there, but I didn't get kicked off the plane. I didn't get too crazy,
Good.
but I pushed my luck a little bit. So on the way back, I was like, oh, and you know what's funny is I was supposed to fly back the day before, so I still had to wear a mask, but we decided, well, we're having so much fun, we're going to stay another day. So but anyhow, I'm walking through the airport, no mask. I get a look out the window. I get a breeze. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So that was a little bit of a positive note.
Yeah, I mean, I literally talked about you earlier this week.
Yeah, it's business.
That's all right. There's always the podcast. All right, what's on your mind before we go to news?
Well, what bothers me is earlier you said that I don't represent myself with those insurrectionists. So I want you to.
No, I do not. No,
what
I do
group of
not.
People, okay, and that's fair. That's fair. We've always been, reasonable with each other. So what group of people are you against during the erectionist? What did they did or the insurrection? What
Anyone
did they did?
that caused any damage does
But
not
don't
represent
you
me.
find it ironic that after a year and almost a half, we
We're better
haven't
than them.
heard of one
We're better
person-
than them. We are better
I
than
know
them.
we are. And I agree with that. But don't you find it ironic after a year and a half? You know how the Democrats are. If they find the littlest thing, they air it for 6 days straight. But on
Agreed.
this, you really haven't heard okay, this group of people, you've just heard general stuff, but nobody that's actually, charged that's with some Nazi group or something. You haven't heard anything. So you got to take that into account is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking
Fair.
we got political
There you go.
prisoners,
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So I would be, a little slow on that one,
No,
but I don't.
Brian, I'm not slow. You can be as slow as you want. I am, and we always have a civil conversation. We agree with each other on a lot. We disagree with each other on a lot. All I'm saying is anybody on January 6th that went in, if they caused injury to any Capitol Police officer, any damage to what should be the people's house, they don't represent me. They never have. They never will. And I also, yes, see your look. If there's anybody in the state of Colorado that talks about what happened in the summer of 2020 in this state, nobody has talked about it more than me. Television, radio, internet, blog, whatever.
Now, Steffan, in all respect, it's not really about that. It's about that. You know how CNN works. You know how the elitists work. If they had something, they would be airing it all over the place. But you don't hear anything. You just hear general statements.
Okay, but what was yes or no? Was there damage caused to the Capitol?
There was, but
yes.
You know what? We don't know if. Look at the Widmark case. We don't know if that was FBI doing the damage, and because I heard on the west side of the building is where all the ruckus is going, but on the east side they were literally opening the Capitol. You know what's funny? And I don't know. I'll be the first one to say I know that I don't know. But the funny thing is I should know after a year and a half. To me, it sounds like they're trying to hide something. So that's why I say, I walk slowly on this, and I just wait and see.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
All right.
What do you think? What do you think
I
about
wouldn't jump to conclusions because you would know. If a Democrat gets something against you, it's going to be everywhere immediately.
Well, I know, and I also saw a bunch of people acting like savages.
Yeah, but you don't know who those people were. You don't know.
No,
if
I
that
guess
was a
not,
setup.
and I don't know who shot Kennedy
Because after
either,
a year
but
and a
he's
half,
dead.
Now, Steffan, Steffan, after a year and a half, you would actually know if our side really went crazy, you would know that. You would know that.
All
and
I
they
know
would
is,
throw it
brother,
even if they got one person out of all those people
went crazy.
But now we got people held in jail for a year and a half.
No, we've
They got
talked
no
about that, and
representation.
I don't agree with that. But, I mean, are you trying to
that's
tell
what
me
I'm
that
saying.
every single person was an actor during January 6th?
I don't know. We don't know.
But
if they would be honest
use some
with us,
logic.
we would know. But
Use logic.
Because of their unhonesty, we don't know. So I can't make any predictions. I mean, I can guess through the series of things that have happened, what they're doing.
I tell you what,
But
I know
literally, we have political prisoners, and we have political prisoners. Either charge them, let us know what happened, be honest, be open, and everything will work itself out. But when you hide things and you got people in jail for a year and a half, it just doesn't seem right to me. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
No. If it smells funny, it is. Listen, have a great weekend.
So I wouldn't trade those guys out too quickly. I think we all got to find out who these people are in prison, because it could be one of us that just happened to roll up, and all of a sudden we saw people walking in, we walked in, and next thing you know, we're a political prisoner. We can't have that in America, so we got to be smart about things.
Thank you. I agree. Here's the deal, though, and thank you for the phone call. We got to get to news. Look, the bottom line is, and I don't disagree with everything that Brian says, and he's always one of our great callers. Got to ask him next time, Michael, if his wife still hates me, but that's fine. What we saw from the video, if they were actors, if they were infiltrators, if they were Trump supporters, what happened on January 6th was disgusting, should never happen again. Do we know everything? No, that is disgusting as well. But come on. What happened on January 6th should not have been allowed to happen, whether you feel it was the Capitol Police saying, yeah, come on in, yeah, bash that. But, people died. That's a fact. Damage was caused. That's a fact. The country was further divided. That's a fact. Bad things happened on January 6th. That's a fact. When we come back, one of the greatest actors of all time is celebrating a birthday today. We'll give a little nod to him, and that will come up next. 6 o'clock hour, I want to talk more about not only Earth Day in a way that maybe is not traditional. We'll talk about that. We've got our film, as I mentioned, coming up at about 6:40. And if you missed Douglas County Sheriff Tony Spurlock earlier in the program talking about what happened last night in, oh my God, it's supposed to be a nice area. Nothing bad could happen between, say, Lone Tree and Highlands Ranch. Au contraire. But it was much more than just 7 people detained, eventually 2 people arrested. And we'll play some of Spurlock's interview with us from the 4 o'clock hour coming up next hour as well. It is time for you, I think, to put those dreams back on the front burner when it comes to travel. After a couple of years of lockdowns and uncertainty, isn't it time to maybe start? And with the mask mandate, at least for now, yes, the Justice Department is going to appeal. But right now, as even Brian said, got to fly and breathe without a mask over your face. I have trusted my friends at Highlands Ranch Travel, Marcy and her team, for more than 15 years. It may even be closer to, it's about 15 years. If you've had that canceled flight, a hotel or cruise nightmare, you thought you were finally getting some rest and relaxation. Maybe you come up with an issue on your vacation destination. You have a question about this or that. Now, look, everybody knows you can easily do this online. But to me, somebody that loves to travel, there's just something about having a travel agent sitting down, seeing pictures, hearing about experiences. And Highlands Ranch Travel, they are the pros, and I love them. I've mentioned a few times this week, they got me to Barth, Germany, so I could start my film 25 Steps. I didn't know where's Barth? Well, they certainly helped me out. They got me an interpreter. They got me car to get to this remote, small area, and got me hotel and all of that. They are terrific. Sit down with the team at Highlands Ranch Travel. Discuss your travel vacation dreams. They help you plan, understand requirements, say if you're going international. They break down all your options for you. Start dreaming now. HRTVL.com. That's HRTVL.com. HR for Highlands Ranch, TVL for travel abbreviation, HRTVL.com, or 303-791-2311, 303-791-2311. Check with their great travel specialists, HRTVL.com.
Now, news, traffic, weather, and the latest on Ukraine.
A memorial service was held for the El Paso County Sheriff's K-9 who was shot to death in Manitou Springs. Sheriff Bill Elder told those inside New Life Church in Colorado Springs that Jinx was extremely busy in his short career.
K-9 Jinx was deployed 124 times for patrol-related calls for service, conducted 64 narcotics deployments, and 58 SWAT deployments.
Sheriff Elder also says he's pretty certain that Jinx saved deputy and police lives last week when he went after an armed suspect. Jinx started training with his K-9 handler in 2020. President Biden says the Republican Party is the MAGA party now. The president spoke in Seattle and argued that this isn't your father's Republican Party. The president insisted Republicans who know better are afraid to act correctly because they know they'll face primary challenges. Alaska Airlines is allowing previously banned travelers to fly again. The company says more than 1,700 passengers were banned over the past 2 years after refusing to comply with the federal mask mandate. Officials say some travelers who were particularly egregious will remain blacklisted. Richard Robertson, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Crash on the highway cleared up. Westbound 70 over near Colorado Vasquez. That westbound I-70 drive a bit slow from right around Central Park on over toward Brighton Boulevard. 270 still has some crowding there, both sides of the highway. I-25 trying to get up into the downtown area. Northbound is still at speeds in the teens and 20s right around University. Also crowded, I-76 on up to 84th Avenue. A little bit of slowing in that 225 drive. Off-highway crash backing up Parker Road. Northbound Parker Road past Arapahoe. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by News Nation. Dan Abrams and Ashley Banfield are now back-to-back on News Nation. Get the news without the bias. Weeknights starting at 7 Mountain on America's fastest-growing cable news network. News Nation.
Strong winds will continue through the evening and early nighttime hours. Overnight lows in the low to mid-40s. Strong and gusty southwest winds. Those winds will be shifting to the northwest on Saturday. Saturday, colder and windy, upper 50s. A few showers early Saturday, a few showers late Saturday. Lows Saturday and upper 30s. A chance of showers and a few thunderstorms Sunday, highs 50s. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist Don Day on 710. KNUS.
This is Matt Crowder live at the gas station on 41st Street reporting on those skyrocketing gas prices. Excuse me, miss, are you buying less gas now because of the high prices?
Oh, I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Get Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute, are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Well, does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, well, there you have it. Stop paying full price for gas. Download the free Get Upside app and get real cash back every time you buy gas. This is Matt Crowder, Radio News Network. Download the free Get Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RAIN for a $5 bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code RAIN for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code RAIN.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher for MediShare. If something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, right? Switching to MediShare to pay for health care can save the typical family $500 a month. Wow, what would you do with $500 extra every single month? Pay some bills, fill up your gas tank, even as challenging as that is these days. Maybe take a vacation. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. I learned that the customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. It's amazing. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. And the very best part of all is that people save money and they're happier with MediShare. MediShare is a godsend. Give them a call right now, 855-94-BIBLE. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. MediShare, here's the number, 855-94-BIBLE. That's 855-94-BIBLE for MediShare.
The Tanner Gun Show proudly supports the Second Amendment and the Don't Take My Guns movement this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Arapahoe County Fairgrounds. You won't find a bigger or better selection of new handguns, hard-to-find used firearms, tons of ammo, scopes, AR accessories, and more. Forget online shopping. At the Tanner Gun Show, you're free to see and handle your purchase before you buy. Get your guns while you still can at the Tanner Gun Show in Aurora. Tickets are available at the door or get them online at tannergunshow.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
News Talk 710 KNUS. Listen live on Odyssey. Now, back to Steffan Tubbs. News Talk 710 KNUS. Denver's local talk leader.
I just realized I went a little long in that segment, so our shortest segment of the week right here, but I'm going to play for you. Who is this?
Okay.
You probably have guessed. Yeah. Happy birthday, number 85 to the great Jack Nicholson.
How's it going back? Perfect, Billy boy, absolutely perfect. They was giving me 10,000 watts a day, you know, and I'm hot to trot. Next one takes me on is gonna light up like a pinball machine and pay off in silver dollars.
Here's Johnny.
I just didn't want you to think I was like one of your other girls.
Not much danger in that unless you curtsy on real soon. Never another man's rhubarb.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth. If it's election night, and you're excited and you want to celebrate because some that you date has been elected the first queer president of the United States, and he's going to have you down to Camp David, and you want someone to share the moment with, even then, don't knock. Not on this tour. When I tell you to dump a body in the marsh, you dump them in the marsh. Not
Happy
where some
birthday,
guy-
Jack. Happy birthday. Here's Johnny. One more hour of the program, our film review, and we talk Earth Day in a different way. That comes up next. Stay right there.
George Brockler here. I hope you enjoyed the temperatures because they dipped down this weekend. But guess what? Monday, Jimmy S. will be in for me as I'm tearing it up on the slopes with my son for the last day this season. Heidi Ganal on Tuesday. Dave, Say My Nickname Williams on Wednesday. And you on 710 KNUS.
George Brockler, weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on News Talk 710 KNUS.
House Bill 1233 proposes a dangerous change in eye care and is being pushed by special interests in the Colorado legislature. This bill gives eye surgery privileges to optometrists, who are not medical doctors or trained surgeons like your ophthalmologists. Who thinks that's a safe idea? Not 87% of Colorado voters, who in a recent poll said they believe if the law were changed, optometrists should be required to complete clinical and surgical residency programs the same as for ophthalmologists, who are your medical doctors and trained surgeons. However, the same poll shows 96% of registered voters have not heard anything from their state legislators about this dangerous bill. So please, don't wait any longer. Tell your legislators only surgeons should perform eye surgery.
Paid for by Colorado Society of Eye Physicians and Surgeons.
Hey, Mike, what are you doing way up on that ladder? You're going to hurt yourself.
Oh, I'm trying to unclog these gutters.
That's smart. I had water damage from my gutters last year. It cost me $10,000.
Wait, $10,000?
Yeah, and from over here, it looks like water's been pouring over your clogged gutters, and it's probably doing real damage to your foundation. You need to do what I did. Get off the ladder and call Leaf Filter.
Yeah, but I need to get these gutters flowing now.
That's why you need to call Leaf Filter. They'll clean and realign your gutters and install their exclusive micro mesh screen system so nothing gets in your gutters except water.
So Leaf Filter protects my house from damage and means no more gutter cleaning for me?
Bingo! Plus, Leaf Filter has an industry-leading lifetime warranty, so your gutters are covered for life.
Thanks, Frank. I'm calling Leaf Filter today.
Don't go another day with your home unprotected. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com right now for an extra 15% savings. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com. That's 1-844-300-LEAF.
Let's do this.
Critics agree the bad guys are good.
News, traffic, weather, and the latest on Ukraine. News Talk 710 KNUS, Denver. The news now.
It's 76 degrees, 710 traffic and weather in just a moment. President Biden is talking about his plans to reduce the cost of prescription drugs. The president announced that he wants Congress to limit the price of insulin to $35 a month, which is still 3 times what it costs to make.
Let's end the days when companies could increase prices with no oversight and no accountability.
The president also wants to limit what seniors pay for prescription drugs. He wants an oversight process for increases in drug prices, and he wants to give Medicare the authority to negotiate the prices. Here's 710 traffic and weather.
Crash on the highway up north on I-25 near Thornton Parkway was blocking lanes in each direction. Now the crash cleared, but we do have some heavy traffic on I-25 trying to get to Thornton Parkway. Trying to get up into the downtown area, still running busy. Northbound I-25, speeds down to the 20s. Right there from University, jammed into downtown. Tech Center Drive looking better. And 270, some minor delays across Commerce City. You got that merging traffic. Trouble in Franktown with the traffic lights are messed up. Highway 86 and Highway 83. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Strong winds will continue through the evening and early nighttime hours. Overnight lows in the low to mid-40s. Strong and gusty southwest winds. Those winds will be shifting to the northwest on Saturday. Saturday, colder and windy, upper 50s. A few showers early Saturday, a few showers late Saturday. Lows Saturday and upper 30s. A chance of showers and a few thunderstorms Sunday, highs 50s. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist on day on 710 KNUS.
It's 76 degrees. This report is sponsored by Panera. So many words to describe Panera's new Chef's Chicken Sandwiches, but just one bite will leave you speechless. Panera, the familiar made fantastic. Enjoy a $1 delivery fee when you order on their app. Restrictions apply. A grass fire in Colorado Springs near Interquest Parkway and Interstate 25 has been knocked down, according to Colorado Springs Fire Department. An evacuation order for the nearby farm subdivision has been lifted. And lawmakers in Colorado filed a new set of bills intended to ensure that the state is ready in case of COVID-19 surges again. Governor Polis says Colorado is taking the lessons learned during the pandemic and applying them to plans for future needs. At the closing bell today, the Dow Jones lost 981 points to close at 33,811. The S&P fell 121 points to 4271, and the Nasdaq dropped 335 points to 12,839.
Portions of the following program have been pre-recorded. A longtime newsman with an opinion, a proud dad, an American, supporter of our veterans and active duty military. Common sense discussion begins now. This is the Steffan Tubbs Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
79 degrees in downtown Denver. Good evening, Colorado. Friday, April 22nd, and we are into the final hour of the program, final program of the week. Do not forget, tomorrow morning, 6 to 9, the Jimmy Sangenberger Show. He's got another great column out today, and he'll be taking your phone calls and such until 9 o'clock. 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then wake up with Randy Corcoran from 9 to noon tomorrow. Has George Brockler done a full week yet? I'm just curious. I get accused of, oh, you're always out of town. You're always doing this. I have heard George's promo like twice in the last 30 minutes. Yeah, Jimmy will be in for me on Monday. I'm hitting the slopes. Now, in all seriousness, work is important, family and time and making memories with your kids and all of that. To me, there's just no comparison. So good for George, but I still think he hasn't done a complete week. Certainly since Pete went, I've had enough. Thank you and good night.
Yeah, we do have to give him, though, that sometimes it's for the Army stuff. So that is...
there. Of all the people to poo-poo this, me, never. Speaking of which, thank you, Michael. Our Pio, our producer, Richard in the newsroom, Steffan Tubbs with you. We have a great hour to wrap up said week. I don't want to fight. I don't want to even have a mini kerfuffle. But it is interesting. It's Earth Day, and it has been crammed down your throat again. No, doesn't surprise me at all. Today, a couple of things, speaking of Earth Day, 89 degrees for a high at minimum. May have, or not at minimum, but it may have at least hit 89. And why did I say may? It did hit at 89. I don't know if it did hit eventually 90, but an all-time record high for Denver, Colorado today, 89 at the airport earlier this afternoon, breaking the record of 88 set back in 1989. So there you go. Welcome to those of you. Just got to remember to remind you that we are live streaming on YouTube. So hello. Thank you to Mr. Crowley, our chief of staff. And coming up in not too many, I think in the next couple of weeks, we're going to do this every day for the show. So thank you for the texts coming in. Hey, got you on via YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the 710 KNUS YouTube channel. We don't need any personal information, but we'll alert you as to when we go live. And other events as well that we put live on our YouTube channel. What else? I mean, it's National Jelly Bean Day. What more do you want? But for those of us here behind the mic and behind the scenes to let you know important information like that.
Now there is one. Oh boy, looks like I'm running out of jelly beans. One little jelly bean, the last one for me. I'll eat the purple one. I'm as happy as can be.
Do you remember maybe if you have children or grandchildren and songs like that it loop. And you can't get it out of your mind. And, we're helping.
Jelly beans. I love jelly beans.
A president of the United States loved jelly beans. The great communicator, Ronald Reagan. Our president, like today, as we speak, Joe Biden, speaking of Earth Day, on the road in the Pacific Northwest.
And one of the things I'm proudest of in our administration, before I went into detail with my quote, green agenda, I got all the unions together. Literally got all the unions together. Basically said the unions view it as against their interest. And starting with the IBW electric workers, they endorsed it. And every union has stepped up because they figured it out. Their jobs, they're the ones who can help us transition in ways like never before. It's not going to cost them jobs. It's going to increase jobs. The IBW is going to be building 50,000 electric stations, electric starting stations all across America, for example. And so, look, change continues today, and a new generation
back to the
of
prompter.
Americans helping us lead the way against the threat of climate change. Every time I get a little down, I don't know about my colleagues, I suspect they're the same, I just turn on the television or take a look at all the young people. This young generation is not going to put up with all this stuff. No, they're not. I mean, they are really, really energized, whether it's basic human rights or it's the environment. They're just not stopping. And from day one of my administration, we've stood with them. Governor, I hate to admit it, but I was part of that early Earth Day. I was only 7 years old, but God, oh my Lord, I can't believe I said that.
Oh, Joe, you're killing me. Oh, you're so funny. All right, let's get into it. Earth Day. Why for so many conservatives, Republicans, non-progressive whack jobs, why is Earth Day for many an eye roll? Why is it mocked? Why, I guess over the years, certainly in my lifetime, if you are concerned about, say, things in the environment, I think we're kind of guilty on the right of, to at least a certain extent, tree hugger, whack job, women with hairy armpits, men wearing sandals with socks, jean shorts, and maybe a comb over. We talked about this earlier in the program. Have you ever met a conservative or a Republican that said, I don't care how polluted the air is. I don't care if that stream is polluted, if it's dirty. Well, there's always another one. See, I don't think in my lifetime, I've never met a conservative or a Republican that votes a straight Republican ticket that says that they don't mind if, there's pollution and trash on the sides of highways even. Now, one of our texters, and it was all good, civil conversation via text, and I did say at one point after a couple of exchanges, hey, we're on the same team here. And you know what Mr. and Mrs. Texter said? Much love. And I said right back, much love. But I find it interesting that especially on Earth Day, well, not only is it crammed down your throat, especially on a day like today, but you heard the president there in Seattle from earlier today. My Green New Deal agenda. There is no mistaking what this man is about, what he is trying to do. Many pieces of legislation already in his early presidency that have been signed and put into law, and the big plan overall. They are anti-oil and gas. You know this. They don't care what kind of disruption, what kind of destruction that said Green New Deal agenda may cause. They don't care. Proof of that is every time this president or anyone else that has adopted fully the Green New Deal agenda, what will they also tell you in like the same either run-on sentence or the same breath as we need to protect Mother Earth, climate change is this, that, or the other? They will tell you in the same breath, and it's almost just a guarantee, they'll tell you how many new jobs will be created. As far as climate change goes, and I did get also another text saying, you're kind of mixing up these things. And with all due respect, it was civil as well, an exchange via the Wall of Love. And you can text the studio via the free to download app and send an email if you'd like via the web or the app. Our number, 303-696-1971. The real thing is here, I don't think that I am mixing two things that should be looked at separately, because you know why? They don't. Yes, there's climate change, and you can talk about the rising of temperatures, the melting of the icebergs, the ice caps, the rising sometime. I mean, it's always, well, New York City's going to be underwater in 10 years. Then that never happens. And then, well, what we really meant was in 15 years. And then that never happens. And then the next, what we really mean is in the next century. I get it when it comes to how it can be an eye roll when you talk about climate change. Now, me personally, maybe even on a Friday evening in our final hour together of the week, maybe I'm going out on the plank alone. And again, there's Nancy Pelosi with her really sharp ice cream scoopers. She's down there. The tarantulas, the king cobras, very pissed off grizzly bears and lions, and they're all circling, and also somehow in 45-degree water. It's just a mess down there if I fall off my plank, but I'll go out on it alone if I have to. I truly do not understand the thinking, and I don't want to fight. I think personally we are ignorant if we do not think that our contributions as people, as human beings, and industry, and what we do as people somehow does not impact the environment. I think personally that is an ignorant way of thinking. I'm not saying that we have seen, or because of what we do, pollution and driving and all of these other things, I'm not saying that it has driven up the Earth's temperature 4 degrees in the last 200 years. I don't know, because I'm not a scientist. I just personally know in my own mind, we do have an impact. And I do blend in because they do. I do blend in dirty air, dirty water, trash, climate change, not necessarily the way they see it, but we need to take care of this precious blue marble. And I think this especially because space is always on my mind, and I watch billions of documentaries, it seems, on space, and I'm never, ever just, yeah, that's cool. It's never lost on me when I see shots from space, whether it's from a SpaceX launch and you're seeing the Earth get smaller, or one of our astronauts that in the late 60s or early 70s took a picture from the moon and looking back at this incredible planet. But at the same time, I totally get it, why you just roll your eyes. But I just think it would be kind of ignorant to think that man over the centuries has not had an impact. But I also don't buy into the just like blanket statements that individuals like the President of the United States and all of those whack jobs from Mayor Pete to whatever. Oh, speaking of Mayor Pete, and speaking of Earth Day, and a message of complete bullshit. I wonder if they ever looked in the mirror, maybe they would realize that things like what I'm about to play for you, it doesn't make me want to stand up and say, yeah, let's do more. I mean, frankly, friends, I want to vomit when I hear stuff like this. By the way, that was put together with our taxpayer money. Listen to this bunch of horse shit. It's sickening.
It's Earth Day, and we want to talk to you about the biggest threat our world is facing, climate change.
That's why we're working together to combat the climate crisis in ways that reduce costs for American families every day.
Climate change impacts everyone, but we know that the climate crisis disproportionately impacts communities of color and poor families.
You know what? I'm going to stop it right there. Negatively impacts and disproportionately whatever bull crap that she was saying. People of color and those of low income. They say what?
So are we to understand that the climate itself is racist? Or what does that even mean?
Yes, Michael, the climate is racist.
Well, that's not nice.
No, it's maddening. I mean, my mood is pretty, it's mellow. I can go up or down, but it's Friday, 6:18 in the PM. I really just, let's get to the film review because I just freaking love this film. I can't believe how much I loved it. But they got to throw in things like that. It's Earth Day. And it's particularly hard on those black and brown families and people of, well, according to them, some socioeconomic status. So they wonder why you and me don't buy into the bullshit that they're trying to sell us on. And frankly, it doesn't matter if it's April 22nd. Well, they do this on September 10th, February 2nd. They do it on Christmas Eve. It's gross. Maybe if you just pumped the brakes and stopped with your shame and guilt, show some really good data that is not, when you come to find out, you read this study, then you see who funded it, and it's somebody like an Al Gore. Maybe then it would be a little more palatable. I don't know. All I would say to you, friends, is if we're mostly, we may be in the same canoe, our little radio club, and maybe sometimes, things that I say or things that you say, and doesn't necessarily have us always rowing in the right direction, or the same direction, I should say. But at the end of the day, we're still in that canoe together. I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, we can all, even those of us deplorables, we can all say, you know what, I care about the earth. I care about the planet. But don't ever stop even looking at things as factual as everybody, they all say they want you to drive an electric vehicle within the next, 10. I mean, if they had their way, you'd go out and buy one tomorrow. But let's also not lose sight of the facts. For example, the Paris Climate Accords. I want cleaner air. I don't want this planet to go to hell in a handbasket. I want it to be great for your grandkids and great-grandkids and mine as well. But let's not lose sight of facts as well. For example, the Paris Peace Accords. Yeah, the United States, we can look in the mirror and say we are the best and we are the most caring nation on the planet. But when nothing is done with China and India, for example, well, really, what the hell's the point? Anyway, I'm going to walk backward very slowly off of the plank and head toward a news update. Coming up in our next segment, I want to give you, as we've done, I think 7 out of the last 8 Fridays, give you a look back via audio at the sound of the week and sounds of the week that we talked about with you and you talked about with us. But I do want to go to this break. Speaking of Earth Day, how about this guy? 95. And please, would you continue to voice things until you're 105? Because I sure love the films. Planet Earth, etc.
People won't care about things that they don't know about and have never seen. And that your first job is to make it clear what a wonderful world the natural world is. And you can't expect people to spend money or time or worry or concern or political action about an issue about which they really know nothing. So one comes before the other. It's quite true that you've got to decide when you stop one and move to the other, but you've got to do both.
Sir David Attenborough, by the way, would not be a fan of what I just said, but I'm a big fan of him. And so is the United Nations Environment Program, naming the 95-year-old today champion of the earth. I mean, if that isn't, Michael, like, you've just been named champion of the earth. That's like the ultimate mic drop. I'm out. When we come back, Sounds of the Week, heading toward the Friday Homestretch Film Review, Film of the Week, our review of 1952's Don't Bother to Knock with Marilyn Monroe and many other big stars. That comes up next. Glad you're with us on 710 KNUS. I just remember we've got to tell you, speaking of Earth Day, speaking of climate and all of that, it's almost 90 degrees out at Denver International today. Tomorrow, let's take 40 degrees, 40 off of that. Going to be in the low 50s and maybe some showers tomorrow. We're in that time of year. Maybe you use your heat and air conditioner all in the same week or even the same day. I have done that even this week. Don't get caught off guard. Get with my friends at 888 Heating for their $88 performance check. They're going to make sure everything, all the components of your system are clean to prevent damage. They'll also go through their checkpoints to make sure that you have everything in working order. They are family and locally owned. Garrett and his staff and team at 888 Heating, they've been serving families like yours and mine in the greater metro area and up and down the Front Range for more than 2 decades. It's 888 Heating, no high-pressure sales. You'll just get great, reliable service and the best products from American Standard. Right now, if your AC conked out last year, you haven't replaced it yet, or your heating system is pretty much on its last legs, right now they're offering $2,000 off any new unit, and they also have great financing deals as well. Get involved with them as costs are skyrocketing. Tell them Steffan sent you. Visit and hassle-free scheduling online, as well as their specials tab and other customer reviews. 888heating.com. And that just reminded me, special financing deals, costs are skyrocketing. Don't check your 401k this weekend. Just don't. It's another pro tip from the Steffan Tubbs Show. The Dow was down nearly 1,000 points today. The NASDAQ was down more than 335 points, and the S&P down nearly 122. We'll take a time out. Sounds of the Week and our film coming up next. Happy Friday to you, 710 KNUS.
News Talk 710. Update.
U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia defended her comments ahead of the January 6th riots at the U.S. Capitol while testifying as a part of a challenge to her re-election by voters and a supporting legal group who are seeking to knock her off the ballot for her role in the riot. Green appeared before an administrative law judge because a handful of voters in her district, represented by a nonprofit called Free Speech for People, say that Green should be disqualified because they allege she encouraged and supported the rioters who stormed the Capitol. While on the witness stand, the Congresswoman repeatedly said that her charged rhetoric ahead was not a call for violence. Lawyers with Free Speech for People are citing a provision in the U.S. Constitution that forbids any member of Congress involved in insurrection from serving in office. It passed in the years after the Civil War to prevent former Confederates from returning to their seats in Congress. However, the legal theory is mostly untested in modern history. More sexual assault and harassment allegations have been reported within the Cherry Creek School District. This comes after hundreds of students walked out of class protesting the district's handling of an incident at Grandview High School. An email from a local parents group brought out new allegations claiming that 5 more cases of sexual assault within the district since Tuesday's walkout. The U.S. is disputing Russia's claims that it has seized the Ukrainian port city of Mariupol. Pentagon spokesman John Kirby noted there are still pockets of resistance despite the Kremlin's claims. The fall of the city would be a key win for Moscow's campaign to seize the eastern part of the country. This report is sponsored by News Nation. Dan Abrams and Ashley Banfield are now back-to-back on News Nation. Get the news without the bias, weeknights starting at 7 Mountain on America's fastest-growing cable news network, News Nation. Richard Robertson, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Couple of problems along I-25. Now, southbound I-25 got a new crash reported right around Santa Fe. Reported as a motorcycle wreck. Running slow on that drive, leaving downtown, trying to get to Santa Fe, then some better speeds. Had a crash on northbound I-25 up near Thornton Parkway. That wreck cleared. And you bunched up from I-76. Minor delays on that 270 drive. Now, there's road construction backing up Pena Boulevard, northbound Pena at Green Valley Ranch, backed up onto I-70, also backing up northbound 225. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by News Nation. Dan Abrams and Ashley Banfield are now back-to-back on News Nation. Get the news without the bias. Weeknights starting at 7 Mountain on America's fastest-growing cable news network, News Nation.
Hey, everybody. Contrary to popular demand and much to the consternation of many, I'm back Saturday. And man, oh man, do we have a lot to discuss. I haven't forgotten my promise to give my take on the Republican State Assembly, the gnashing of teeth by the consultant class, and the old Republican leaders. As usual, they're wrong. The RNC meeting was great. Hanging with Dinesh D'Souza, rigged 2020 is must-see, and you bet we're going to talk about all of it Saturday.
Wake up with Randy Corcoran, Saturdays from 9 to noon on News Talk 710 KNUS.
When selling your home, you want to be certain you will put the most money in your pocket. I do. Hi, George Brockler here, and Gay Ribble with Keller Williams Realty DTC knows that every situation is different for each homeowner. They're all unique. With just one call, you'll learn how Gay Ribble will help you maximize the sale of your home. Learn more about the zero commission program where the buyer pays all of the commission, saving you thousands of dollars, or Gay's 24-hour cash offer program. And, of course, how Gay Ribble will guarantee to sell your home at 100% of the asking price, or wait for it, she will pay you the difference. Also, ask about Gay Ribble's Stay in Your Home Guarantee, where you can sell and stay in your home for up to 12 months. Learn more and find out which program is best for you and call Gay Ribble today at the Ribble Group at 833-301-SOLD. That's 833-301-SOLD, or visit gayhasthebuyers.com, spelled G-A-Y-E, hasthebuyers.com.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. For the last 6 years, those on the left have insisted there's no greater imperative than protecting our democracy. If they really believe that, they've got a strange way of showing it. Take the Biden White House's response to 2 new Alabama laws. One requires boys and girls to use bathrooms appropriate for their biological sex. The other prohibits doctors from performing sex reassignment surgery on minors. The bills passed the state legislature with 4-1 support in the state Senate and 2-1 support in the House. Democracy, the people speaking through their lawmakers, doesn't resonate more clearly than that. But the Biden White House didn't applaud the operation of our democracy. It threatened litigation. It may try to overturn the laws in the courts. That's not democracy, and it makes you wonder. When the left talks about protecting democracy, are they actually just insisting that they always have the right to get their way?
Publicpolicy.pepperdine.edu. More than just headlines. This is News Talk 710 KNUS.
Midway through the 6 o'clock hour, welcome as we are in the final 30 minutes of the program. It has been a pleasure to have you join us, whatever time you give us, or earlier this week as well. We'll get to the sound of the week, something that we like to do on Fridays, just to go, wow, we did talk about a lot of stuff. Before we do that, though, and the Friday film review, Don't Bother to Knock from 1952 is coming up within the next 15 minutes. We will start our review, sponsored by our friend Danny Cash. Danny Cash Hot Sauce, DannyCash.com. In the 4 o'clock hour, we talked with Douglas County Sheriff Tony Spurlock about something that happened last night. No, not in like the seediest, worst part of Douglas County, which, trust me, many municipalities around the country would love to have their worst, seediest, most terrible portion of their place be the worst that they see in Douglas County. But this is how it sounded last night between, right around between Lone Tree and Highlands Ranch. Not exactly, your crime-ridden ghetto. So that was last night, and in connection with 2 deaths that happened January 21st, Juan King, 56, and Kayla Seymour, 30, both killed. Now, because this is an ongoing investigation, the sheriff couldn't really give us a lot of detail, but I think I'm pretty darn accurate when I say this. The feds are involved, as the sheriff alluded to, most likely our friends at the Drug Enforcement Administration. Fentanyl is such a huge part of crime and death in Colorado right now, it would make your head spin, if it's not spinning already. So 2 deaths, so they execute this search warrant. They had to use, it sounds like they had to use tear gas and everything. You could hear them in what we just played. As the sheriff told us, 7 people were initially detained. 5 were eventually released. 2 people were under arrest, including a man and a woman. This house sounded like a house of horrors and certainly trouble for law enforcement, and many, many calls for service, as they say, to this home in the 7,000 block of Lions Head Parkway. But this got to a bigger conversation. The sheriff indicating to us that 1 in 3 pills that you get maybe to get high or feel good this weekend, 1 in 3 most likely are contaminated, if you will, with fentanyl. As the DEA has told us on a couple of different occasions for the entire hour here in studio over the past couple of months, this is Russian roulette. And we also talked about, well, there is still a bill when it comes to dealing with fentanyl that is still being crafted and changed and amendments. But some of these idiots, they thought, and thank God the governor came out fairly recently and said, yeah, that's too lenient. You could have on you or in your possession enough fentanyl to kill 2,000 people, and some brainiacs who are elected by brainiac voters in Colorado, some brainiac legislators wanted that to be a misdemeanor, not a felony. The sheriff from earlier today.
Sure. Well, I stand with the county sheriffs of Colorado, and our position is that we need stronger punishment, if you will, for the amount of drug issues, and they have a degree of amount of drug that is just too high. The smallest amount of fentanyl can kill you, and so to have it at a misdemeanor level is, in my opinion, incredibly dangerous for the state of Colorado. So I I want more strength in this law. I would like to have more things done in this law, but we are taking a stance at this point right now where it's got to be a stronger penalty to defer people from using and dispensing fentanyl or fentanyl-laced narcotics. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done on this bill, and there's still time. Legislators still have time to do the right thing, to work together, and quite frankly, get it away from politics, and let's get back to serving our citizens at the capacity we're supposed to as elected officials, and that is making sure that our community is safe for the people that live here.
Amen. Be smarter, because this is the boiling point. If we are not smart and put people in who, quite frankly, just want to be law and order, because that's how it should be. Enough of, oh, I don't want to offend you. Enough of, oh, well, you're a certain color, so you get this, and you're a certain color, and you get that. This must stop, or we will all pay the consequences. And you can quote me on that, because I sure as hell know that if it continues the way it is, I will not be wrong. And I know many of you concur with that. Let's take a look now back, and we'll take a break coming up as well, and then our Friday homestretch film review. But the sound that was, including some sound that came out for the first time today.
I don't want to rush things. I want everybody to have all the information needed. I've had it with this guy. What he did is unacceptable. Nobody can defend that.
Russia, more than just launching an invasion, more than just launching a war, is undertaking a campaign of terror, a campaign
Investigators in New Mexico have revealed their initial findings into a deadly movie set shooting that involved actor Alec Baldwin. Baldwin fired a prop gun during rehearsal for the movie Rust last week, killing cinematographer Helena Hutchins. The director was also hurt in the shooting, the sheriff's department said.
T-minus 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, guidance release, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. The engine's now building up to 7.7 million pounds of thrust. We have a launch commit and we have a liftoff. The swing arm moving back. The Saturn V lifting off the power. Alpha pad building up.
Keep going! Good job, Ariel! Keep going! Ariel, this way! This way, Ariel!
Okay, just stay.
So still just sit, don't move. She's a teacher.
I'm the teacher, you know.
She's a teacher.
So this thing, that's the new reactor?
That's it.
That is the newest nuclear reactor in the United States. There's 2 of them being built here outside Augusta, Georgia. When combined with these other reactors built in the 1980s, this will be the largest nuclear power plant in U.S. history.
We're building the future.
Tonight, the Navy is investigating the deaths of 3 sailors assigned to the aircraft carrier USS George Washington in Newport News, Virginia. They all died within a week of each other. No word yet on the causes of their deaths, but the Navy says they don't appear to be related. One sailor died aboard the ship on April 15th. The others were found days earlier at separate off-site locations.
Mr. President, should people continue to wear masks on planes?
That's up to them.
Would you like to appeal the ruling or the ruling that the judge made striking down the mandate?
I haven't spoken to the CDC yet.
I hate saying this, and I hate to have to admit this, but that was, I believe that was about the lowest point in my life. That was the lowest I'd ever felt as a human being.
Just trying to ask for an autograph, man. Hey, Mike, come on. Let's go stop back. Let's lose the horse.
President, on Title 42, sir, are you considering delaying lifting Title 42?
No, what I'm considering is continuing to hear from first of all, there's going to be an appeal by the Justice Department. Because as a matter of principle, we want to be able to be in a position where if in fact it is strongly concluded by the scientists that we need Title 42, that we be able to do that. But there has been no decision on extending Title 42.
Mr. President, will you be sending more artillery to Ukraine?
Yes. As I said earlier, through the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which I might add, I wrote the original one with my own paw. I wrote it, sat down and wrote it.
And liftoff of Starlink 414.
How much owe you, ma'am?
$1.50.
There you are. Keep change.
Just keep your eye out for that Mr. Bender.
Let me have a Diablo sandwich of Dr. Pepper. Make it fast. I'm in a goddamn hurry.
You want something? Hush puppy, Daddy. We got no time for that crap. You son of a bitch. Diablo and Doc.
Stacking my slip. You must be in a hell of a hurry, huh, Sheriff? Bet your ass on that boy. Oh, you got a little mess here. Let me help you out here.
See, if you were with us throughout the week, you'd know why we were playing one of the greatest scenes in one of the greatest movies of all time, Smokey and the Bandit. It pays to listen every day, if you can, for 4 hours. Finally, happy birthday to Jack Nicholson, and we'll go to the break, well, with his trademark. The Friday Homestretch Film Review Film of the Week, Don't Bother to Knock, comes up next.
Okay.
Now, news, traffic, weather, and the latest on Ukraine.
President Biden is criticizing Florida's Republican lawmakers for their decision to dissolve Disney's self-governing district. The president said there's nothing conservative about deciding you're going to throw Disney out of its present posture. Florida's governor signed a bill stripping Disney World of its special status, meaning that Disney World is no longer a self-governing body and is stripped of its special tax status. Firefighters with South Metro Fire Rescue quickly extinguished a trash fire this afternoon after the driver of a garbage truck dumped the truck's fiery load in a parking lot. The fire started in a garbage truck and the driver dumped the contents into an open lot to save the truck. No structures were threatened and no one was injured. Firefighters remained on the scene to check that embers didn't drift in the wind and spark a nearby extension of the original fire. The quick-thinking driver quickly dumped the load, in part because the truck operates on compressed natural gas, which is potentially explosive. The plan to build a border wall in Texas may be derailed by a tiny flower. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is looking to place one species of milkweed on the endangered list, and experts say that it only grows in areas where the fencing is being erected. Leslie Uppinghouse with the Ladybird Johnson Wildflower Center says that milkweed is important because it's a food source for the monarch butterfly, which migrate to Mexico. Richard Robertson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Driving I-25, traveling out of downtown, we're backed up. We got a motorcycle crash. Southbound I-25 down near Santa Fe in the right lane. Jams are back to Colfax. Better speeds once you pass Santa Fe. 6th Avenue slow on the ramp to I-25. Now, northbound I-25, crash at Thornton Parkway. That is gone. A northbound drive a bit crowded from I-76. Little bit of crowding on that 270 drive. Rest of the highways are looking good. And we do have backups on Pena Boulevard. That's road construction on northbound Pena at Green Valley Ranch. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. When you need to hire, you need Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Strong winds will continue through the evening and early nighttime hours. Overnight lows in the low to mid-40s. Strong and gusty southwest winds. Those winds will be shifting to the northwest on Saturday. Saturday, colder and windy, upper 50s. A few showers early Saturday, a few showers late Saturday. Lows Saturday and upper 30s. A chance of showers and a few thunderstorms Sunday, highs 50s. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist Don Day on 710 KNUS.
Personalized, functional, beautiful. Kitchens, the centerpiece of your home, a place to gather and eat, and we all want one we can enjoy. Your kitchen remodel can bring all the latest designs, colors, and textures to life, from brilliant countertop and backsplash installations to cabinets in the style and function that fit you best. Cabinetry by Kales is known for extraordinary kitchen design, and you'll love working with their expert designers who can take your ideas and tastes and bring them to life. Cabinetry by Kales Kitchen and Bath carries multiple lines of cabinetry and countertops, plus hardware selections and a variety of styles and price ranges for the kitchen, bathroom, or other cabinet projects. Get started at cabinetryByKales.com or in the showroom located off Dransfeld in Parker. You'll find inspiration and understand the process start to finish. Why wait another moment? Your kitchen refresh, upgrade, or complete remodel awaits at Cabinetry by Kales Kitchen and Bath. CabinetryByKales.com. Personalized, functional, beautiful.
Fact. Our bodies are under attack every day, whether it's COVID, vaccines, the air we breathe, the water we drink, and even the foods we eat. We're constantly trying to keep up with the Colorado weather, fighting off stress and inflammation. But there's a solution. C60 Complete. C60 Complete is a scientist-formulated, doctor-approved antioxidant supplement that helps you achieve a longer, healthier, and happier life. Do what I'm doing to improve my health and go to purebellavita.com. That's purebellavita.com to get your first month's supply today.
News Talk 710 KNUS. Listen live on Odyssey. Text the studio directly on the 710 KNUS app. Get it free at the App Store.
Welcome, one and all. A little Diamond Dave, a little Van Halen, heading us into the weekend. It is time. It is time for the Friday Homestretch Film Review Film Assignment of the Week. And before you play the music, sponsored by Danny Cash. Danny Cash Hot Sauce, DannyCash.com. You think your supermarket has a decent selection of hot sauce and barbecue sauces? You haven't seen nothing yet. Danny Cash Hot Sauce in the River Point Shopping Center near Santa Fe and Hamden. An incredible selection. You're helping support Colorado's small business. They're now into their 21st year, and this started, we're going to get Danny in here sometime. We love supporting Colorado's small business, and it started with, he had a, who decides, my thing is I'm going to make hot sauce. Started with some money in his pocket, so to speak, and now he's 20 plus years strong. See them or visit DannyCash.com. Here we go. All right, no abrupt ending. We'll just fade that really quickly because we want to still stay as we head into the weekend on the good side of the attorneys. It is time for the Friday Homestretch Film Review of the Week for Friday, April 22nd. The film from 1952, as described, an American psychological film noir thriller, Richard Widmark, Marilyn Monroe, and Anne Bancroft in Don't Bother to Knock. This film stunned me at how much I liked it. No, make that how much I loved it. Just a little from the trailer. And whenever it starts with that kind of music, oh my goodness, the thrills, the suspense. Marilyn Monroe.
I'm the guy at 821 across the court. Can I ask you a question?
Oh, I don't know. I suppose so. Are you sure you want me?
Yeah, you're the one I want, all right. You doing anything you couldn't be doing better with somebody else?
If you want.
Does that mean come on over?
That was like the early 50s. That was a creeper. I'm watching you. I'm in the hotel window looking across the open space into your hotel room. Richard Widmark, a pilot who is there, and he's only there at that hotel because why? He's in love with Lynn, played by Anne Bancroft. This hotel setting, that's where everything happens. I could so see this as a stage play, and I have no idea. I haven't found it anywhere to where it was a stage play. But you start to learn about, well, Richard Widmark is in love with Lynn, and she doesn't think he's that caring. She's the bar singer, etc. And in the hotel rooms, if you watched with us, there's a speaker, and you could hear the lounge act. And so he was kind of haunted by her voice and would go down. And there's just so many great quotes. Put a couple of them on our Facebook and Twitter pages. But did you notice some of the old characters from I Love Lucy were in this film? There is a Dear Jed letter, not a Dear John, but a Dear Jed letter. I just can't do it because you're just not a sensitive dude. Then you find out about the story of Nell. Nell is the babysitter from hell. You do not want Nell. Nell is deeply, deeply disturbed. Nell also is now tasked with taking care of a little girl while her parents in the hotel go down for a function in the lobby area.
You didn't have any trouble finding the place, huh?
No, I took the bus like you said.
Well, it's like I told Martha on the phone. I heard these people talking going up in the elevator. Somebody to look after the little girl, they said. There must be some kind of a service, she said. I told her I had an impulse. How about my niece? She'd be glad to take care of the little girl.
I think you should have told them I haven't had any experience.
What for? What's the point? Where'll it get you? Then they worry.
You're an old humbug, Eddie. How high do we go?
What? Oh, yeah. 8.
How old is she?
Oh, little girl? 6 or 7. She's a good kid. You won't have any trouble with her, will you, Nell?
No, I don't think so. Why should I?
Oh, you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
So that is Elisha Cook as Nell's uncle, Eddie. Elijah was in many of the old films, including The Maltese Falcon. What I think was interesting is this deals with suicide attempts. And Marilyn Monroe, you see scars on her wrists at one point, and you think with how big she was and would get even bigger in the years to follow, this was kind of like, whoa, this is a 50s film talking about suicide? Well, let's just say Nell had spent the previous 3 years in a mental institution, in Oregon, by the way, following a suicide attempt. You soon find out that Marilyn Monroe's character is a psycho, and she's a babysitter. This film, only 76 minutes in length, distributed by 20th Century Fox. It took in about $1.5 million at the box office. There is no budget for the film that is listed. Then there's the phone call. Richard Widmark comes over to her hotel room, and, I don't know if that stuff happens today. It seems like something bad potentially could happen. But then there's also this kid involved. And at one point, the kid is allowed to look out the window.
Look, there's a man. What's he doing? He's reading a paper. Down there, there's a man and a woman. You won't cry anymore, will you? What are they doing?
Yeah, you won't cry anymore because I'm about to take you in the bedroom and I'm going to tie you up and bound and gag you. Marilyn Monroe's character Nell dresses in the little girl's mother's jewelry and dress, and then she's trying to have this ruse as Richard Widmark comes over. I'm telling you, it was a thriller, perfect film noir. There were a couple of lines like, "I better leave before twins pop out of the closet." There were so many crazy parts to this film, and it was, again, just who knew that it was good? I didn't. Well, then I just got to tell you, one of the greatest quotes in a movie I've seen in a long time. "You're silk on one side, sandpaper on the other." Richard Widmark describing the disturbed Nell. Then old Uncle Eddie comes to the door. He's like, "What are you doing? I'm the bellhop here, and I tried to get you a babysitting job." Well, Nell ends up knocking him across the head, knocking him out with a big old standing ashtray. How about another great line? Why are you so restless? You're ticking like a clock. Oh, I love it. So they return the earrings and the bracelet. It's dangerous. What's going on? Bunny, the little girl, is tied and gagged. And Richard Widmark realizes he's about to be set up for this. So then who knew they had a house detective at the hotel?
Get as many boys as you can and put them on every floor. And get a man up on the roof.
Tell him to be careful, Pat. I don't know what she might do.
She's violent, see, so go easy. Rochelle, listen, give me the bell cap.
I can't find her. She's not in the hall, not on the fire escape. Maybe she went down the stairway.
Now she is on the lookout.
What's that?
They're on the lookout for her. They realize Richard Widmark had nothing to do with it. And then at the very end.
I do look terrible.
Something happened, lady?
My dress is torn. I'll have to get a new one. You won't know me yet.
That was in the elevator as she's going down. The cops find her. She steals razor blades from one of the counters of the hotel, the little gum and such, where they sell that, and they finally get her. They explain that her husband, Philip, he's been dead. It's not Richard Widmark. I'm telling you, I probably did it no justice, but this one is worth watching. Michael, I'm telling you, you got to watch it because it's a thriller. Drum roll, please. From 1952, I give Don't Bother to Knock a very solid 9 out of 10 Danny Cash bottles of hot sauce. Terrific week, friends. Go Nuggets. Good luck. Jimmy and Randy tomorrow. For Michael Arpaio and Richard in the newsroom, Steffan Tubbs saying, stay safe and healthy. Great weekend ahead for you. And remember our troops. Good night.